start of the holiday. The Ghan Explorer. I don't know if you can see the camels in there, but this is the type of train we'll be travelling on. That's not the actual one, but that's one just standing on the side of it. And this is the length of the platform that we have here in Adelaide. So it's got to be all that length just to take the whole size of the train, which with luck we'll get here soon. The standby plan is if our train doesn't get here, this little beauty is going to be pushed into service, but I think we might just get away with it. Judging by the notice there, I'm not sure my mother would survive. They're going to close the doors on me. Whee! Boom. We're in the luxury restaurant here. Well, what do you think of the luxury restaurant, sir?
I think it's very nice, and the Daily Juice Company has done us very proud.
Well, there's no grog on the train, you know.
Don't want any grog, do you?
I don't, no. Okay, so we'll just depart from our sumptuous lounge and pick it up later on.
Alright. We're now on board the Ghan. This is it. This is our little cubby hatch or cubby hole or whatever it is you want to be in. It's nearly 4 o'clock on Monday afternoon. And we're pulling out. The weather is very nice out. It's lovely. And it's all nice and cosy and lovely in here.
Yes, it's a bit like the Orient Express, isn't it?
It is.
And, you know, there's sort of bits and pieces around and things up there and things down there. And I don't know what's going to happen if I rotate this round, but, and then sort of out the window is Australia. Well, you can see Portsdown Hill in the distance, and we've come all this way. As far as I can tell, it's a bit like, I don't know, south of Clanfield on a fairly dry day. We are, I suppose, about, we're an hour and a half outside of Adelaide, and so far this is the farming belt. And that logo reminds me of when I was in Egypt. A man on a camel. Interesting sort of a cabin. Anyway, in a moment, somebody's going to come out of that door.
How neat is that?
Here comes the fairy queen.
I wonder where the bloody hell she's been. Oh well, I thought, do I close this up before I flush it, or do I flush it and then close it? So I flushed it and then it went...
How'd it go?
And then I closed it.
Oh, fine, that's good.
Oh.
Well, in the distance you can actually see our train as it goes around the corner. We're just coming into Alice Springs. We're just 5 kilometres outside the town centre, which is what a recent road sign just told me. And speed limit's 80 kilometres an hour, but for some reason we're going just a little slower than that. And some of the local population are sitting under the trees, sunning themselves. Don't quite know what they're doing. This is so what I consider Australian, you know, the cars parked and the gum trees and this old ute coming up here. Well, I'm sure we'll see more of it. This is an interesting sight. What you've actually got is you've got the river with water in it, which doesn't happen very often. Goodness gracious me. But if you look round the other way, you can see still a lot of mud flat there. In fact, looking ahead again, that's just to confuse anybody, sort of disappears to mud flat here as well.
Wow, look at that rock.
Well, look at that rock, the lady says. It's not that easy through this window, Susan.
No, don't worry, because you'll get the sun in that respect.
Well, I've got stuff on the window. That's a blinding nuisance. I can actually see myself, my own reflection here. And that tells us all that we need to know about the area. It was just a little too fast, unfortunately. I wouldn't have imagined Alice Springs as being quite as built up as this. I imagined it to be a sort of flat red plain with a few sheds in the middle. whereas in fact it's extremely lush and extremely green, which was not what I expected. Okay, Susie, we're here in, where?
Alice Springs, thank goodness.
Yes.
Very noisy here today.
It's extremely noisy. I'm coming in closer so we can, I'm walking so we can hear you talking.
Right, well we're here, it's about 26 degrees I would say. There's lots of people getting off the train. I'm so glad we weren't in steerage class, that we were first class. Made it a hell of a lot easier. We slept all night, had a wonderful time, brilliant dinner last night, fabulous breakfast this morning. And we're here, so let's go, go, go.
Right, and there's the train disappearing into the distance in that direction. And where's Susie Boo? She's ducked it. There she is. And there's the train zooming out to that distance. It was quite a big train, wasn't it?
Very big train.
A huge train. Okay, well let's see if we can find the man now.
Please.
You can see there the way it's flying around, it's flapping its wings most of the time. It means it spends a lot of energy flying. It has to flap its wings all the time. When it flies everywhere, it had to do that over large distances to try and find its food. It will probably use up more energy than what it gets out of the food it catches. So it stays around those water holes and basically waits for its prey to come to it. It's a way of conserving its energy. They have to do that. And quite often, particularly if they're flying very, very fast, what these birds will do is rather than grab a hold of the other birds, is they'll just fly past, clench their feet together, and actually hit the other birds with the back of their feet. Now what this does is at least unbalances the other birds. They can then turn back around and grab a elephant out in the wild. Now what he's doing up there is not just sitting and waiting for you to take photos, he's actually hunting. Now to hunt, these birds sit, they wait and they watch. They watch for a reptile to dart out from underneath the bush. Once they spot one, they drop down onto it and feed on it. Now while this bird is on the ground there, have a look at its legs. You might notice it has relatively long legs for its body size. Virtually the opposite to the Australian hobby that we just saw. Now both these birds are in the falcon family, but this bird is designed for catching reptiles, whereas the hobby is designed for catching birds. Now these long legs are useful to it in a couple of ways. Mostly because if it drops down off its hunting perch and misses its prey, it can run after it, just like that. It's probably the most coordinated bird of prey on the ground that we do have here in Australia. You can see it runs quite happily along the ground. This basically gives it a second chance of catching its food. So if it drops down off its hunting perch and its prey decides to run away, it can actually run after it and grab a hold of it. It can also flush out any of the animals that might be hiding in those rubbish tips. They're quite happy to pick up bits and pieces of food wherever they can find it. They don't specialise in catching any one particular food source. So that allows them to, as I said, around most cities and towns in the northern half of Australia. And this association they've got with people actually goes back a lot further than the 200 odd years that Europeans have been settled here. They've actually had an association with the Aboriginal people going back thousands of years. And they take advantage of an Aboriginal method of hunting, which we call fire stick farming. Now what fire stick farming involves is things like kangaroos, emus, bilbies, marla, reptiles. The Aboriginal people wait on the other side of the fire. Now the fires also had secondary effects. Once the fires had gone through, there was the slightest bit of moisture about, you would find all the plants involved in the fire start to sprout new shoots. Now this would encourage animals back into the land. Things like kangaroos and emus would quite happily come back in and feed on that. Keep a close eye on them. You might be able to see them pass that food from their feet when they catch it into their beaks and eat it as they're flying around. This one's going to go nice and low, so flying around now. Some of you might have seen him pass that food straight away. And they do this for a couple of reasons. One is to conserve energy. The other one is basically because of competition. Now, to conserve energy, these birds get out of that food source. Oh, have you having their breakfast this morning?
No, I didn't.
No, quite often when they are eating, all they'll do is just set their wings out, let the wind keep them up in the air. They don't have to flap their wings, which means they're not using very much energy at all. So it's a very energy efficient way of feeding. Now, as I said, the other reason why they do it is basically because of this, it's going to be stolen from them. So again, that's a very advantageous behaviour for them to have. Now these kites behave today as they have done for thousands of years. You'll still find them at things like pastoralist burnings, bushfire control, even bushfires themselves. These kites still gather at the fire fronts feeding in exactly the same manner. Basically because it's a very, very easy way of them finding food. They'll be able to see smoke for miles around. They know wherever there's smoke there's going to be fire, and basically wherever there's fire there's going to be food. Now there's a good way to identify these black kites. As you're travelling around, as I said, you will be very likely to see lots of these because they are very common birds of prey. Best thing to look at is their tails. Now you might be able to notice with some of them when they're flying fairly high, they pull their tail in nice and close together. They actually have a quite interesting V or a fork in the tail. And it's the best way to identify a black kite, basically because the black kite's the only birds of prey in Australia that have that fork or V in the tail. So do keep your eyes open for them, even as you're walking around the park today. You are very likely to see these black kites. You are hunting those small to medium-sized native mammals, things like those bilbies, marla, betons. But unfortunately they've had to change their diet. Now when Europeans arrived here in Australia, they introduced the rabbit. Now rabbits do very, very well here in Australia. In fact, they did so well they outcompeted our native species. They ate a lot of vegetation that our native species needed to feed on. They did fairly well out of rabbit in some areas. But unfortunately, rabbits continue to be one of Australia's worst environmental problems. They continue to use calicivirus. Now this doesn't happen over a long period of time. In fact, it can happen very, very quickly. The nature of the disease means once one rabbit contracts the disease, it dies basically within about 40 a couple of weeks. Now this is a fantastic start for the land. It's exactly what the land needs. It means our native vegetation can grow back, which hopefully means our native mammal species can get a foothold in the land again and maybe gain their numbers once again. Anyone seen wedge-tailed eagles? Yep. It's very possible to see quite good numbers of wedge-tailed eagles feeding on the side of the roads, basically because those highways are now their main restaurants. They fly up and down there looking for those road-killed animals, whether it be kangaroos, cows, reptiles, birds.
Here we are. Where are we?
Not here we are again.
Not here we are again.
Here we are.
We're at the Desert Gardens Resort, which is absolutely fantastic. And there's a truck just going by, which we're going to pick up the noise of.
Just so we get the sound of silence.
That's
yes.
right.
There she is.
Here it goes.
Yes, it's a garbage truck,
It's a
but never
garbage
mind.
truck, so we'll jump over the balcony.
Just because I have a face like a garbage truck doesn't mean I don't have any feelings, sir.
And because I'm the dumb Sheila and I can't work the video camera, you see, I get to do all the stuff in front of the bloody camera. So here we are on the balcony of our very, very nice apartment, which is smashing. And as you can see over my right shoulder.
No, your left shoulder.
Left, but I was close.
Yes. Okay, let's actually change a setting on here and just show that there is Ayers Rock. And the thing is bloody incredible. So Thomas Cook have scored again. Looks like something out of the moon. I mean, it's incredible. C'est incroyable, mes amis. And again, something I wasn't expecting was the lushness of the vegetation. And this is just our hotel room, which I think you'll agree, Susie Boo, is quite spectacular, is it not?
It's a wonderful resort. There's everything here. It's just brilliant.
Okay, well, just have a look at the room, shall we?
Yes.
All right, just go to tour the room then.
Okay, from here?
No, we'll go inside it. How about that?
Okay.
Well, here I am, sitting on the edge of my bed, inside the room, and just to prove it, like I said, there I am sitting on the bed, and this is what you get to see. You get to see the rock out there, you get to see this bed here, you get to see that bed there, and I don't know, there's a TV over in the corner, but it's a beautiful room. I mean, it really is quite fantastic. Come with me to the bathroom. Well, I'd stop it there, Sue.
And who have we got in here?
Well, this is what you call sitting in the lap of luxury. Did I say sitting in the lap of luxury?
You did.
I meant something like that. Sitting in the lap of luxury. The other thing which is good about this room is what we call stereophonic wash basins. So I can wash this hand in that basin, and I can wash that hand in that basin. The only problem is the left-right crossover to actually rub them. And we've got a shower in the corner, and a shower behind the camera, and if she turns around and looks there, she turns around and looks in the wardrobe, you know, rotate yourself. Good heavens. There she
Me
is.
again.
I said it's my hair, right, but there again in my case the whole thing was purely wasted.
Okay, well this is taking a panoramic scene from our balcony of the apartment where we are, and as you can see it's absolutely superb. Very nice place to stay. Bet you wish you were here.
Okay, Boozy Susie, where are we today? Flight, you know. The reason why I'm calling her Boozy Susie is this girl does everything in doubles. Only one from the front, okay. And there's the rock in the dim distance. My word. That's quite a rock, isn't it? It's more of a chunk than a rock. I suppose, you know, a rocket amongst rolling hills says an awful lot. However, we're on a tour called The Sounds of Silence, and by the lack of silence you will see that there are, oh no, now I'm going to have to go the wrong way, thousands of people around, well, at least 2 or 3. So there we go, ready for the Sounds of Silence dinner. Well, it's getting very close to sundown, and rumour has it that the rock will change colour. So rather than run the film all the time, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep on taking this shot every so often, and I might sort of give a bit of a view around towards the setting sun. No, that's too close to the setting sun. But you can get an idea of what's going on here at the rock. It's the wrong face, really. That's the face which is facing the sun, so that's where all the changes, if they occur, are going to take place. But I'll just leave it with the overall view of the rock. The other object of note, of course, are the Olgas, which are over to our right, and all you're going to do is get those in silhouette because the sun is actually behind the Olgas already. And when I think of Olgas, I think of Susan's. And there she is again.
Thank you very much indeed.
You're most welcome. Just because I have a head shaped like Herman Munster doesn't mean I don't have feelings.
Yes, it does.
Oh, no it doesn't. Well, the sun is now nudging the horizon. I'm not going to pan around at it because I'll just get lens flare. But there might be a colour change. Who knows? Well, a few more minutes have passed and the rock's still there. The sun's now about half down. I'll take the next shot just after the sun sneaks below the horizon. Well, that's it. The sun's now gone down below the horizon. Apart from heads and things, I've lost the Olgas. Oh, there they are. Yeah, the Olga Bolgas. They're still there. And then we're looking at where the sun has just gone from and coming back round to the rock again. There's the rock. Yeah, nobody's moved it. I was afraid somebody might tow it away while we were waiting. But it's still there. Still looking good. I can't tell any difference in colour. But there again, it's a black and white viewfinder. Why should I? Well, that's it. Yeah, sun's gone. They took it away. Obviously hadn't paid the electricity bill or whatever. Coming round again. The didgeridoo is now playing to... That all comes free with the tour. We're actually going to be dining down there somewhere, I think. Well, yeah, where those sheds are. I think those are the dunnies for the dinner. Anyway, the rock hasn't changed much. The biggest problem we're going to have tonight, it's a clear blue sky, and we're going to do some sky watching, but little sod over there, the moon, complete with rabbit ears. We've got a full moon tonight, so that will probably spoil the stargazing, which is a bit of a bind. Never mind. So, coming back from the moon over the Aussie outback. One hell of a view, really, isn't it? One hell of a lump of rock. We'll do a 360 like I did on the Nile. There was the sun. There were the Olgas. And here are all the happy campers. Sue and Dragica. Spesbidania. Oh yeah. Okay, hope you get some. I don't know, it might be my imagination, but I think the colour's changed again. We've got a... Sorry, that's my fault. try and look over the viewfinder here, but we seem to have, you know, quite a different different set of light tones now. Yeah, fascinating. Oh well, it's supposed to be what this tour is all about, the sounds of silence. I wish people would shut up, never mind. Then again, people often wish I'd shut up. It's a bit spooky actually, Sue, because I've got candlelight on one side, and I think I'm going to lose it when I go through the candles, but and here's everybody else looking remarkably festive. Right, well, that's not that crash hot, but...
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Well, we're out in the bush. We've been made honorary members of the Fakawi tribe. The object of the exercise is we've got all these spears and things, and we're going to walk through the long grass, and every so often we have to jump up and down and shout out our name, the name of our tribe. We are at the base of Ayers Rock, which is over there, and the walk we're going to take, and Susie's waiting for us, is right the way into the base of the rock. We've decided we're not going to do anything other than just look today. So we're on the Liru walk, and we're heading off through the bush as honorary members of the Fakawi tribe. This is our next hotel room, and you can see everybody going in there. I don't know if it's a humpy or what. Certainly pretty dumpy. Now then, what's going on here is our Aboriginal guide is now going to chuck the spear using the wimmera and oh well, I thought he missed. Okay, we had a 50-metre throw there, and there goes the spear catcher. It's her job to catch the spear in her chest. So Andrew's going to have another go. So we'll get right back and see how. Right, here we go. We're into the countdown on Wimmera. 3, 2, 1. So here comes the catcher again. It went quite a long way this time. Maybe 100 metres, I think that. That was the target. There's this stick here, which he seems to have hit.
Lizard that actually belongs at Fidiara. But anyway, Wadi Longkara, he was lonely. He was longing for a companion. And he said, look, he had to go on a journey. Right, now there's our intrepid Jeff, walking very slowly back here. He doesn't even know I've got the camera on him. We've just done a fantastic walk around the Liru walk with Andrew, who is one of the original Aboriginal family people. And this is the actual rock itself, with people walking down. Quite a huge monolith. Takes a long time to walk up and down. It's only 10:15 in the morning, and it is very, very warm. There comes my little man. Bye.
You know, this bit of the rock sort of reminds me of the Sphinx. Oh well, we're going to have a wander around. There's a fertility cave here, and we'll see if we can get anybody fertile, I suppose. Anybody in the shade want to get fertile? No, not really. And for those who didn't believe that it actually rains in the Australian desert, you can hear water, and you can probably see water.
This area is known as Maggie Springs. You can see the water pouring now. They haven't had rain here for nearly 2 days, and there's still a lot of water pouring down off this rock. This will go on for days. Even in the middle of winter, after a heavy dew, you come down here and there's water trickling down. It will work its way. In some parts of this rock, it will take over 2 weeks to get down to here, as it runs down from pool to pool and fills it up and overfills to get down. You can see a high water mark over the right. The black on the rock is where the water's poured down and it stains the rock. It picks up dust and that out of the air and stains it. And what we've got is this rock comes down, goes underneath us, and comes back up over here. And you can see the curve in the rock on the right. This has been caused by...
You can see Sue almost disappearing like a Mexican off watch, with or without poncho and hat, into the Olgas. That's Olga 1, Olga and a half, and a bit more Olga over there. So we're going Olgaing, aren't we, Sue? Yeah, talk to me. Bye. You know, we're right out here in the middle of the Aussie desert, and you look at something like that and you think, Stroth, it's barren. And you go up your scalp and you say, blooming heck, you know, rocks like being on the moon, my word. But then, you know, bring you around on full wide angle now. This is the chasm we're going into. You know, we're still sort of stark. Look at that rock. These are the Olgas. We saw those at sunset the other night. But now, look at this. Beautiful and green. Little rock pools. Can you hear the flies? Can you hear the silence? And then going on there, it could be England's green and pleasant land, and not in the middle of the Aussie bush. Absolutely beautiful, isn't it? Really beautiful. Well, all over this place are these sort of lumps of stuff which look like dinosaur doo-doo. And if we look at Sue over there, you get an idea of the size of it. I mean, they're flipping massive. Goodness only knows what it is. There is a rumour that in fact it probably came from some of the holes that you see up there. That these are plugs of rubble and stuff which have fallen out and rolled down the hill and just formed themselves into these sort of large clay lumps. But I think of some huge dinosaur that's been galloping through this wonderful gorge and dropping doo-doo all the way.
Okay.
She was supposed to say, where are we today, Jeff? And I was going to say, buggered if I know, Sue.
Where are we today, Jeff?
Buggered if I know, Sue. Okay, we're out in the middle of the desert again. We're going to get all rocked out at this rate. But we have to our left, oh, she's already gone there, Mount Connor.
Absolutely beautiful. And there's just flat ground all around it. Used to be part of a very large range, apparently. And here's my little Jespy. So where are we today, Jeff?
Buggered if I know, Sue.
The swagman camped by a billabong under the shade of a coolabah tree, and he sang as he sat and watched his billy boiling. Oh, come on, sing Matilda with me. Won't sing Matilda, Matilda, my darling. Oh, come on, sing Matilda with me.
Well, if I can hear myself over the music, it is Christmas Eve, and this is what Sue and I are doing on Christmas Eve. We're out in the bush still. We've been past Mount Connor, and I'm going to swing around a second, and you'll see Susan. No, you won't. She won't hear. She can hear me, can't you? Hello. Is it Christmas Eve?
I think so.
Oh, good.
Lost track of the days. I can't remember what they are.
Yeah, what?
I think it's Christmas Eve.
All right, it's good.
Yeah.
Okay, now out the coach window in the front. Oh boy, we'd have a bump there. We're actually doing 100 kilometres an hour, which is, you wouldn't think it actually, looking at this. That's the back of Lindsay's head. Lindsay's our driver. So there we go. We're going to go around the corner now. And I'll just pan the other way as we swing around the corner and get the G-force of the corner. Here we go with the G-force of the corner. Way! All looks the same, doesn't it, really? Oh, well, never mind. Well, our Susie's now making friends for life.
Beautiful.
On account of, it's a baby red. So he's going to be...
onto my hand.
Yeah. Doesn't let you go?
No.
Oh, isn't that cute?
You're just beautiful. Yes. Yeah, isn't that nice?
Who are all your furry friends?
Let me get some more. Look. Come here, look.
Hello, somebody's itchy. What are you doing, looking for your watch? Well, this is Kings Canyon, with lots of people walking through now. You can see lovely bits of red and bits of green, and everybody's staggering a bit because there is some water just about down there. Okay, there's a sea otter, it says, but that's what they're trying to avoid, is walking through the water there.
You'll notice in some of these pools too, and tadpoles here have got back leaks already, so there's certainly humidity coming across. A lot of these got back leaks. They've got to develop, of course,
So everybody's having a nice little hike. I've lost Sue. I can't see her anywhere. Yes. Ah, she's with Lindsay. Yes, Sue. Hello, Susie Boo. How are you? Okay. Well, we'll see what else happens in Kings Canyon. But this is the outback we came to see. It's still Christmas Eve. So this is what we're doing at about, he says, looking at his watch now, 3:15 in the afternoon. Now at the end of Kings Canyon, and we're looking up at the top of the canyon from the bottom of it. And you'll gather it's quite a steep canyon. So I'm now on full wide angle lens, tracking right the way around up to the end of the canyon. Somewhere around here is Sue. No, she's not. Okay, in that case I won't have her. I'll walk up the edge and fall over, because I always do. And so that wasn't a wombat at all. Got any nails?
I want some bread.
I'm not surprised. I don't know what that tree is at the end there. That's as close as I can get. They probably call it the tree at the end of the canyon. And where's Sue gone? There she is. Hello.
You'll get a
Again.
lot of them. They live under the spinifex grasses. And they, as I said earlier, they do fly, but they prefer to walk. They will fly if they really want to.
Well, this is almost like the Valley of the Kings, you know, taking the double with Egypt. I kind of got all templed out and now I'm getting all rocked out, but you can see where the water erosion goes and things. So now it's a half-hour walk back to, not civilization, but at least the main road. Well, it's Christmas Day in the Australian bush, 25th of December. Santa has obviously left his reindeer behind because he's using camels. These camels are running wild, believe it or not. So in this landscape somewhere you'll see lots and lots of camels, but I can't see them because I'm down too low. So here we are, Merry Christmas and have a camel New Year. Red light on.
G'day, Jeff. Where are we today?
Buggered if I know, Sue.
Well, we're in the middle of Gore Creek at the moment, Jeff.
Gore Creek.
Gore!
Strathblue.
Strathblue. There is an Australian little song that goes, in the gum, where the gum, where the and I can't think of it. And I can't see the little red light on.
Trust me, the red light's
The
on.
red light's on, okay.
Trust me, it's on.
You're a doctor.
Give me a home among the gum trees
That's it, that's the
with
one.
lots of plum trees.
I do.
Yes. Right. Okay. So I'll do a time check actually. It's actually Tokyo time, so it's not that far, but it's sort of 1:30ish in the
Well,
afternoon.
that'd be about right, actually.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So because we're in the centre of Australia,
Is the little light still on?
the little light is still on. Yes. I'm now going to pan around and just show what we're actually going to walk through.
Okay.
We're at Simpson's Gap, and what we're actually doing is we're in the middle of a creek. And if you look up there, you can see there's the sandy bed. And Sue and I are going to sort of walk up through here and see where the sand takes us. And then we're going for a picnic lunch. And you can see there's still a bit of water left in the creek. And these are Red River gums. And they've been very opportunistic because they've actually planted themselves in the middle of the water. The rest of the party, mad fools that they are walking up the path. They're in there somewhere. I don't know if I know where, but anyway, that's where they're going. But we're going to walk through the creek. So let's go. That looks just like a Namat Jarrah picture, that. I think I'll frame that. And stuff. Oh, it's got a human in it now. An horrible human. Okay, let's go. I know we say we're all rocked out, but this is an incredible chasm. I mean, look at that incredible rock formation there. And this is the gap, of course, which was carved by this river in which I'm now standing. So that really is a very impressive piece of geology.
Right, here goes our intrepid traveller, walking along the riverbank. Thought he might like to sit on a rock and do some fishing. The only thing he could find were tadpoles. Now he's going to start making his way up, and we'll come back to him later.
Town today, so I don't think
Well,
much is open. There's hardly anyone on the wall.
Looking through the back of Lindsay's head, we're now in the main street of Alice Springs. Well, not quite the main street, it's sort of stuff off to the right as well.
Don't miss the Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Oh, straight. No, don't miss Kentucky Fried Chicken. All right. Which is directly opposite the Backpackers Hostel. See, it's over there. The Backpackers Hostel. Right? And not a corrugated iron shack in sight. Not one. Not here. Not now. Not ever. And we're off to, Sue, where are we going today? Stanley Chasm. Stanley. Oh! Lindsay. That wasn't my fault, that bump. Right. So there we go. We'll pick it up later on. And just a sort of typical view of a drive along an Aussie road. You've got a road with 3 lines on it. If you have one line to your right, one to the left, you're okay. Do anything else and you're in dead trouble. And you can see the new mountains down there with either the back of a Stegosaurus on it or the Rock Ridge Lines. Try to say the Rock Ridge Lines after 3 beers. Well, we have a real rock wallaby. He's hiding behind a tree. And if only he'd move. He's in there somewhere. Problem is he's so well camouflaged I can't see him. Ah, right there he is. Finally got him. So well camouflaged. Just hiding in there.
keine Angst.
And he's absolutely wild. This is a national park. So he's just keeping still. And as you would have gathered with all the noise, there's lots and lots of people talking. And he's thinking, God blimey, what do I do? Do I sit here and try and pretend I'm a rock? Or do I run like hell and do the other thing? He's absolutely beautiful. He's absolutely beautiful. Aren't you? Well, our goal is to get through the whole of this chasm. And I can hear water running. So down there somewhere is water. Aha! There it is. Down there by the reeds. Yes, and we've got Again, some fairly spectacular types of trees and stuff. And of course the intrepid tourists. You know, vegetation like this, it's very, very ancient, cycad type vegetation. You can almost wait for a stegosaurus or an apatosaurus or something like that to come through and nibble on it. Hang on, I can hear one. Oh, it's a Susansaurus.
It's a Susansaurus.
It's a Susiesaurus. What do you think of it thus far, Sue?
Fan-bloody-tastic.
No, tell me what you really think.
Okay.
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 Okay, well this is what we've come to see. We've trekked through all this lovely bushland to get to Stanley Chasm. Stanley Chasm was actually formed by volcanic... She's losing me again, isn't she? It was formed by volcanic activity rather than by river activity. So what you have behind us, and now if you're on camera there, Sue, is you've got sheer 90-degree surfaces, and that's been caused by the rock simply splitting down a fault line as a diamond would do when cut. And of course the water has taken advantage of it, and what we've been walking over is a dry creek bed, because once having split through the rock, water then found its way through, and unlike the rest of Australia where a lot of the rock material is of a red colour, this is very obvious crystalline material. I'll pick a lump up, and you can see the very obvious igneous nature of it, almost dead square sides, as if it was a cube. This is an example of an almost perfect quartz crystal. Squish it a bit longer and leave it for a couple of thousand years, or a couple of thousand million years, and that will turn into a diamond. And wouldn't we like a diamond like that?
Yes, please.
Yeah, so let's go and have a look at the canyon, shall we?
Yes, please.
Okay. And like the lady said, wow, because we're now within the chasm, and you can see absolutely perfect symmetrical cut right the way through. The only thing spoiling the symmetry is the human beings. Talking of beings, there she is again. Okay, and again, more of the quartz crystal rock on the floor of the chasm, which I think is utterly incredible. We'll go through the end and see what's on the other side. We're told there's not much on the other side, but we'll at least do that, and then head back to the coach, or as I prefer to call it, the magic bus. We're now at the end of the chasm. You might be able to hear the wind whistling through the microphone, or you might be able to hear Susan making silly noises beside me.
I know wind whistling because I had baked beans for breakfast.
Okay, I'll put my hand over the microphone just in case.
Just in case you don't want to hear me speak?
No, not that. Okay, so right at the end of the chasm we've got a puddle of water, plenty of water, and then white rocks. And of course when it rains hard, the water comes right down the chasm, and where we're standing right now becomes running riverbed. You can probably hear the alarm going off. It's time that we were to return, and we now return in that general direction. And although it's a bit underexposed at the moment, or overexposed, I'll go forward, and you can now see that there are Red River gums actually embedded in the floor of this stream, which is not unusual. And we, of course, are still inside the chasm. Okay. All right, Sue, like the shepherd said.
Let's get the flock out of here.
That's what the shepherd said. Well, good afternoon. We've reached the stage in our journey where we're going to recap over what has happened, and reading from my notes here, I see that the next person on the agenda is Susan, our sort of irresponsible or irretrievable or goodness only knows what, tour raconteur, who will tell us what's happened on behalf and notwithstanding Australian Pacific Tours. If you think this is an advert, you're wrong, because this is the itinerary to which we may refer from time to time. So it's over to you, Sue.
Good afternoon, good evening, and welcome. We would like to invite you through our itinerary, and it's your intrepid reporter Susan, who is going to work through the first, I think, 6 or 7 days. I've lost count. So, putting my glasses on my nose, we'll start off with Sunday the 19th of December. At 4 o'clock we were escorted in a wonderful limousine to the Park Royal Airport Hotel in Sydney.
Excuse me, wasn't this a red station wagon?
No, it was a chauffeur-driven limousine driven by a beautiful young lady by the name of Samantha, who deposited us at the hotel at 5 o'clock, and from then on our holiday began. We actually went out for dinner that evening at Prom Prom, our favourite Thai restaurant in Redfern, and it was absolutely scrummy. Had a good night's sleep, and then we were up and away, to coin a phrase, to go and catch the Ghan in Adelaide. So, having reached Adelaide, which we flew to, obviously our little arms were a bit tired, but we managed it with all the luggage dangling off various parts of our body. We were transferred to Keswick Station in Adelaide, where the Ghan was 1 hour late. But that didn't matter because we sat and had a chat with various people. And at 4 o'clock the Ghan actually pulled out of Keswick Station and we were on our way. We were shown to our cabin, and that's the only way I can describe it. It was 3 times the size of a normal first-class cabin, which contained a 3-seater lounge, which at night made into a lower and upper bunk, and there was a bathroom, which if you breathed in and walked in sideways, you could get through the door without losing any appendage that was attached to your body.
Well, you might have had appendages that would have come off, but I didn't. However, we do have...
You're interfering with the news reporter here, ma'am.
The intrepid newsreader is not actually supposed to put comment here, but there are pictures of that on file. So there we were, thundering along on the Ghan. Would you like me to pick up some of the story on board?
Yes, I think that might be a nice idea.
The instructions from the cameraman are not to make her laugh, so there'll be no... Why are you laughing, Susan? The alarm is going to say that the bing, 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 the washing is now finished. So after this sector, we will extract the washing from the washing machine, and we'll tell you all about that in a minute. One of the high spots on board the Ghan was the food. And on the first evening, Sue treated herself to absolutely delicious kangaroo fillet steak. She gave me a little bit and it was lovely. I foolishly chose the tempura prawns, which was very, very delicious.
They're coming to take me away, ha-ha.
They're going somewhere else. The prawns were utterly delicious, but the kangaroo snake would have been much better. We had an interesting experience with some fellow travellers who...
We certainly did.
Didn't we just? We think they were members of a local Aboriginal land council who, short of something to spend the money on, were travelling first class on the Ghan. And the way it worked is they came to dinner and ordered food and 2 bottles of wine, left the food and drank the wine. You're not supposed to laugh. We managed to shake them by almost bribing the waitress and saying, look, we've done our duty, give them to somebody else for breakfast. We had an extremely good breakfast of poached egg on bacon.
And I had smoked salmon in the brioche. It was lovely.
Yes, and scrambled egg. Our Aboriginal friends actually turned up and were amazed to find that the spare setting beside us was mysteriously taken. And they had brought their breakfast with them, a fresh bottle of Queen Adelaide Chardonnay, and managed to avoid eating breakfast as well. So goodness only knows how they managed to live, but the Chardonnay went very well. So we spent our night on the Ghan, and it was a very nice night. The moon was out and we were able to turn in and watch the stars glide by. The following morning there will be some footage on here of what we saw and what we did. And we arrived at Alice Springs. And I think that's a very good time to do 2 things. Firstly, to extract the washing from the washing machine, and secondly, to hand over to Sue, who will take us from the Ghan to the Alice Springs Resort.
Right, we arrived in Alice Springs only to find our room was not ready. So we decided to take advantage of this fact and put on trainers and things, and we went out to the Desert Park, which is a newly started wildlife sanctuary, I guess. It's been going for about 2 years, where we saw a wonderful birds of prey demonstration.
Which in fact starts the tape off.
Yes, it does. And you'll see some of that at the beginning before you've heard this commentary. We had quick lunch, then we went into the nocturnal house, and saw all the wonderful little animals that obviously only come out at night, but you don't see during the daytime. And from there we went and saw a movie, which was absolutely spectacular, because at the end of the movie the screen dropped down to show the vista behind, which are these high, craggy, red, rock-formed mountains, which was absolutely sensational. It was magnificent. I can't put it into better words than that. So we had a really good time with that. I'm just going to turn my page. And in the evening we went to, would you guess, a Chinese restaurant, the Oriental Gourmet, which was absolutely honey prawns were second to none, and I could not get over the size of the portions here for the value. It's just incredible. And we had too much to eat, of course. Slight case of digestion at night, indigestion, but it was good. And then, of course, on the Wednesday, we then started our ourselves getting ready so that we could then fly down to Ayers Rock and meet the rest of the tour.
Well, then it was an early breakfast from the motel in which we're staying now, the Alice Springs Resort Motel. Off to the airport, nice easy run, very lovely airport. We got on one of those white knuckle aeroplanes, you know, the ones where the propellers, you're not supposed to laugh, Catwoman. You know, the ones where the propellers are right beside the porthole, and you think any second, you know, 15 tons of carbon steel is going to come hurtling through the window and decapitate you, and in fact it didn't, so everything was fine in that regard. We were able to get some shots of Ayers Rock and the Olgas as we came over. The plane landed, one wheel at a time, which was a bit amusing, but these things happen. There was a check pilot on board. We had a very smooth transfer to the Ayers Rock Resort, and again you've seen the footage of our room. We actually negotiated ourselves from the ground floor to the first floor so we get a better view of the rock, and that was good. Had a dinner in our, had lunch in our room, and that was extremely nice. We met our tour guide Ulrika at about 6 o'clock in the evening, and got acquainted with the rules and regs and what we had to do on the coach tour. After that, we took the coach out to the bush, and again the footage is on file, where we had the Sounds of Silence dinner. Sounds of Silence dinner itself was rather unique, because we started off with canapes and champagne in the middle of the Aussie bush, which is a little odd in itself, and then walked down a little track to where the tables and chairs were set up. And had it not been for the flaming moon, we would have had the most magnificent view of the stars. The astronomer had a very interesting device, a large searchlight attached to his right hand, a bit like a Cyberman or one of the Borg, really. And his right arm come moving up, and he goes, and he'd flash this beam and point at a star. And not only do we see principal stars and constellations, but we managed to see both, or all three, the planet Mars, Jupiter and Saturn, clear in the sky, very easy to see. And he then had 4 electronic telescopes. They were very small, they were 70 times magnification, and from those we were able to see the 5 moons of Jupiter and Jupiter's rings. Because of the clear desert air, there's nothing to interfere with the telescope. We saw Saturn's rings and 2 of its satellites. We saw the surface of the moon. Unfortunately, being a full moon, it wasn't that clear. And then the 4th telescope was focused on the Pleiades, which are sort of 7 points of light. But within those 7 points of light of the Pleiades is a very new cluster called M42, which the Hubble telescope has focused on recently. And the M42 galaxy, the cameraman is laughing, I don't quite know why, but never mind.
I'm thinking of a motorway.
Of course, yes, English. Not the M42, but the M42 galaxy. Our motorways finish at M5, and we don't go any further than that. The M42, which is a star nursery where stars are being born. Now, obviously we couldn't see the footage that is available out of the Hubble telescope, but it was extremely impressive. We then returned to our rooms, had an early night, and prepared for the next day.
It won't go off. Something's flashing.
Yeah, just press the button.
Right, well here we are back again. It's now Thursday the 23rd of December and it's an early start to the day because obviously out at Ayers Rock it gets extremely hot. So we were actually up and out by 6:30 and on the road to Ayers Rock. We had opted to do the Liru walk, which is a walk through the bush at the base of the rock, taken by Andrew Uluru, who is one of the original members of that tribe, I suppose you'd call them, of Aborigines, who originally inhabited the rock. And he was fantastic. He spoke English, but he spoke in his own native tongue. And we had a tour escort guide who was quite good at interpreting what he said and who then put into English what he was saying.
As we will have seen, of course.
And it was very good because he took us through a couple of Dreamtime stories with the Lizard Man and the Python Woman. And it's absolutely fascinating, their culture. And as Jeff and I remarked, it's very difficult when you are a white person understanding why the Aborigines wanted the rock back. However, having now met with them and spoken with them, it's absolutely right. The rock is their heritage because everything to do with the face of the rock and all of the indentations which have been caused on the rock are in fact part of what they believe is where they came from. Like on the other side of the rock that you approach, there is the brain, as they call it. But when you look at it from a vast distance, not only does it look like a brain, but the lower part also looks like the profile of an Aborigine. And everything on that rock, they have a story about. And Jeff and I found this totally awe-inspiring because it was so beautiful. I'm going to have to read a little bit now. Oh, that's right.
This is the Braille version.
This is the Braille version. From Ayers Rock, we then travelled to the Olgas. Now, in my opinion, the Olgas are more magnificent than Ayers Rock because it's not just a single facing, which is sort of 350 yards, metres, whatever it is in length. It is a whole range of rocks that have been thrown together in chaos, if you like. And we had a 1 hour climb in the gap of the rock, which on the surface looked quite good, but as you will see from the footage, it was quite hard going in many places. But we did it. It was exhausting. And from there we went back to the resort and had some quiet time, which was nice. We had a wonderful evening meal together, which was very romantic. We had this brilliant tornado steak, and we had a very, very nice evening meal, which was yummy, and that was the end of that day. Go.
Whatever you do, don't tell a joke. You got any bread?
No.
Got any?
I was trying not to laugh then. Okay.
Well, there was this farmer.
Well, I've got a nail.
Right. So, moving right along. We're going to make this bit interactive. Sort of like, where are we today, Sue? Buggered if I know. Thank you so much. Having done all the stuff at Ayers Rock, we then proceeded en bus, and again the footage is quite clear of this, past Mount Connor. Sue's eye was looking somewhere else, so I don't quite know where she was going. I certainly
Don't do that.
can't do anything because both of my hands. I mean, not guilty, my lad. So we went along the road to Mount Connor. We saw Santa's camels. This is Christmas Eve we're talking about now. So Santa had actually dropped his reindeer in exchange for some camels who were at the side of the road grazing. It was a long drive, a lot of driving yesterday. Sorry, no, the day before yesterday. Yesterday was Christmas. So Christmas Eve was a lot of driving. The roads were a little bit out-ish on account of quite a bit of rain. So we went out to a place called Kings Canyon. And again, we got the footage. We had a little lunch and Sue fed some kangaroos, and then we went out to the Kings Canyon floor where again there's some very good footage of Kings Canyon. We stopped off in fact at the resort first, didn't we?
Yes.
So we went to the resort, dropped our bags and went back to the canyon, saw the canyon, came back and had a Christmas Eve dinner. There was a very interesting visitor at the Christmas Eve dinner, Santa Claus. We think he had come via Scotland. There was this aroma of Scottish whisky about him. I'm not saying he was drunk, but he was going for all the girls, and that was me, wasn't it? Anyway. Right. It's wonderful having an interactive camera person. So Santa would go and sort of talk to a table and go up to the bar, have a grog, come back again. It was a very nice dinner. It really was a good dinner. We then went to bed. The only problem we had was that the air conditioning wasn't that crash hot, so it was a bit of a hot and sticky night. We embussed, well actually Christmas morning, we found that Santa had visited us, and Santa, our tour guide, obviously was a helper, gave me this little koala, which was a nice little present, and some lollies, which we still got in the fridge actually. We'll scupper the rest of those lollies. So we got on the bus, and again the footage will show that we had a lot of driving to do. We ended up at Simpson's Gap, which was truly spectacular. We had a wonderful picnic lunch, which Ulrika had put together, because everybody else wanted arms and legs and several other essential body parts in exchange for a picnic. Very nice picnic at Simpson's Gap. We returned to the Alice Springs Resort, showered, showered, shone, shived, shaved. Showered, shaved, shined, shampooed, and shuffled.
Thank you.
You're most welcome. Over to the pool area, whereupon we had a free glass of champagne to celebrate the millennium with Australian Pacific Tours. I had to look at the script for the Australian Pacific Tours bit. And the chefs had been working all day on the buffet, and we had a spectacular buffet with prawns and mussels and chicken and ham and quail. I'm closing my eyes because I'm looking at it, and my mouth is watering because it's getting close to lunchtime now. Actually 12:30 our time today, which is Boxing Day today. So we finished Christmas Day with a wonderful Christmas dinner. I can say nothing else. Came back to our room, had a relatively easy night. They only have standard size beds. It was a bit difficult. Sue and I are both used to a king size bed each, so it tends to get a bit cramped. And then this morning, which is Boxing Day, we picked up some of the things which we had missed yesterday. The tour bus went out to
Stanley Chasm.
Stanley Chasm, which of course you have recently seen. Again, absolutely spectacular. Tour bus returned to the resort to collect those who didn't go to Stanley Chasm and took them out to the desert park. We have already been to the desert park, so we're actually having a very easy time of it. Sue's done some washing, and we should be joining them in just on 2 hours' time at the Flying Doctor base station, where we will pick up the rest of the tour. So that's the précis of all the contemporaneous notes which Susie has written. That way we've got not just the visual record, which is what we saw and thought about at the time, but also what Sue wrote down in her extensive shorthand notebook. In fact, there's so much here, followed by a roll. Yuck.
Lamington roll.
Oh, the Lamington roll! Yes, that was part of the barbecue yesterday. Do you want to just sort of cover over the bits that I've left out from this, Susie?
I think that's perfect what you said, Jeff.
Well, I think it's perfect as well, but there again, look who said it.
So we will now sign off from our intrepid reporter Jeffrey, and here's the closing shot of the news as we see it.
We're standing here on the banks of the Wee Todd River in Alice Springs, and one of the most exciting things about this part of the world is that they have a regatta here once a year, and the regatta has to be called off if there's water in the river. Does that sound anything like Fife Robertson or not?
Not really.
Oh well, in that case I'll forget it then. So we're in a remarkable situation where it's about the only second time in living memory when they've actually had any water in the Todd River. So Sue would like to go over my shoulder and have a look at the Todd River in full flood. There it is.
There we are. There's water to prove it.
There's also a group of Aborigines under a tree having a corroboree or something.
How fantastic. Bye-bye.
Faith Robertson, Alice Springs, signing off and saying the people of Witherington St Arbor will not sleep easy in their beds tonight. And for why? Because there's water in the bloody Todd River.
You see, you never know how or why. Bye-bye.
We're now looking at the real reason for the existence of Alice Springs. This Post and Telegraph Office was the sole purpose for having something right in the middle of Australia. In this building was all the telecommunications equipment which enabled Melbourne to communicate directly with the United Kingdom via this tiny little single strand line about the thickness of a coat hanger. A bit like the Waltzing Matilda song, we can hear the ghost of telegraphists past, still tapping out on the old Morse equipment. Picture of Mum still hangs on the wall up there, and the clock is actually frozen, not quite at 10 to 2, but I think at about 1922. Oil lamps and even a cowhide bed down there. So this was the actual works of the place. And for all those monarchists, here we have very proudly, right in the middle of the telegraph station, Queen Victoria. God bless her and all who sail in her. And then you have the various mailbags, pigeonholes, etc. To support this was a vast infrastructure, the principal of which was a large number of troops housed in this barrack blocks over here, and of course the cookhouse, which you can see. I've got to walk along now and make sure I don't fall over, plus the actual residence of the telegraph master, and that's his residence over there. Another key function of Alice Springs, of course, was weather reporting, and there we see a standard Stevenson screen. Not quite standard now, he's a little too close to trees, but appropriate for the task of the times. Contrary to what everybody else thought, they thought this was the actual real spring at Alice. This is in fact an evaporation gauge where they would actually measure the rate of evaporation and could report it to stock and station owners so that they would know how long their water would last. So it would be a question of the evaporation rate is so many inches per hour. Of course, another key piece of equipment was the mangle. And it's nice to know that the mangle is still working. Why about I'll just put something in it? No, I won't. You could almost expect somebody to walk into this kitchen at any time. They've got it very well set up. And I suppose for the time, they were relatively comfortable if you had to live in the outback. I mean, these buildings are very, very solid. We've got the typical Australian veranda, corrugated iron roof, and solid stone, so outside it's a fairly hefty 35 degrees, but inside I'd say it was 27 and relatively cool. I do love that scenery though, isn't that beautiful? And then finally, just for demonstration purposes, we have the sort of tents the troops would have been in, those who were not properly garrisoned in the barracks. You've got the stables over there, and the foundry down here. And that is the original settlement of Alice Springs. Isn't that fantastic? I just mentioned the walls just now, and I've noticed this gap. I don't know if the gap's supposed to be there. You can see they've actually got a hole in the wall. You can see the wall is maybe over a foot thick. So that would give very significant insulation. And over in that corner, something is stirring. Some strange creature lurking beneath the trees. I wonder what that strange creature could be. Looks a bit like a Susan to me. Something moving behind the wagons. No, it's hiding from me. The animal doesn't think it can be seen. Oh yes, it does. Hello, Susan. How's Susan? Ah, I'll bet it was. That's my ambition, to have birds puddling in puddles around me.
Yes, well, you're just a dirty old man.
This is true. And finally we can get an idea of the Todd River, which just flows behind this place, and you can see there's water down there. And just by that place where the sign says no swimming, you can see people swimming, and you can get an idea that in fact the centre of Australia isn't nearly as dry and barren as people would have you believe, even though the gnarly old gum tree would make you think somewhat to the different, or even somewhat to the contrary. Well, we're now right at the top of the town of Alice. I'm looking at the resort where we've been staying, and we can get a view right the way around, all the way around, keeping going around and around and around. We're going to come to the sun soon. There's our coach, by the way. Where's the intrepid Lindsay? Oh, there he is, fast asleep. That's the way he drives normally, fast asleep. Oh no. Ulrika, sitting down, making herself comfortable. Doesn't know what we're saying about her, but them's the brakes. And getting round, still rotating, going round and round. Interesting thing is that the real town of Alice Springs is just like any other town anywhere else in the world. I mean, it's just so normal. Any town could be like Alice. And still we circulate, and round, and round, and round. And this is the final part of the rotation. Going round again. That is a gallery where they have a 360-degree artwork of Alice Springs. And round, and round. And there, I think, yeah, is where we started with the resort. And we are actually on the top of Anzac Hill. Well, it's December the 27th, so we're still in the Christmas period. This is in fact the bush manger. This is a real working manger because we're on a cattle station, and having a look around you can hear crowds and crowds of happy laughing tourists. That is not in fact a stable, that is the original residence for this particular location, which is made out of wattle and daub. Not really wattle and daub, it's really mulga and daub, daub being clay, and as you can see right in the middle of the picture there, that's some of the clay fill. Clay and grass. We'll have a look inside now. Well, we're now inside what the real estate agents call a des res, complete with hot and cold running sand in the wash basin. I can just see some of my friends enjoying it. I can just imagine Phil Turnbull getting up in the morning saying, "Oh, goodness me, I'm lousy without my first cup of coffee." Look at the springs on that bed. I mean, incredible, aren't they? This is what the original pioneers did. And the door was fallen out. They'd have to renew it every year. Putting on a new collar and tie. And I don't know where Phil will get his coffee from. Probably cooking it up on that stove. My word. A bath. So you have it once a year whether you need it or not. And of course, I don't know, that's a spaghetti make. I think it's more like, yeah, it's the mangle and washboard. Well, you could get a band if nothing else. Yeah, bit of a skiffle group going. And then over the other side of the enclosure is what they called the honeymoon suite. This was built later on when the founder or originator of this site actually got married, and this is what he provided for his new bride. And then of course the most important building is a stone building. Well, it's not having photographs taken of trees. This is not just a brick wall or any old brick wall, this is the forge. So we start with a nice set of bellows for high power hot air generation. I wonder if we know anywhere else. Of course, we've got things strategically placed on the floor so I can trip over them. So that blows into the charcoal fire there, which gets all nice and hot. And they look out the window and have a look at the lovely surrounding landscape. And good gracious me, the blacksmith's doing it.
I am. I'm doing it. See?
She's doing it. I'll do it from the other side, Suze. Well, she's making a noise. I'm not that sure that she'd actually get herself a decent job as a blacksmith. But,
All I need is the horse.
well, yeah, the shoes are there, aren't they?
Wow.
Okay, so that's the smithy. Nice set of vices there. I only have one vice, but that's back in England. Well, one of the reasons why everybody's got their cameras up here, there's a silly galah in a tree. Who's that silly galah? Not exactly a lot of life in the tree, apart from that. This is one of the oddest things I've ever seen. There's a ladder there, and the ladder sort of goes up, and it goes up, and it goes up, and there's nothing at the top. So, I don't know why you'd climb a ladder like that, but it's there. This is in fact over, not an oil drill, but of course a water drill. This is where they bore for the water. It's interesting the innovation of the Australian bushman when he has to work on his equipment. Instead of putting it over a pit, of course he runs the truck over a ramp. And I would imagine this ramp is probably still in use right now. The other thing which took my fancy over here was the first time I've seen some what I call real desert plants. I think that's aloe vera. I'm not too sure. Come on, all together now. Hello, Vera! The other interesting thing, of course, is I'm looking at this water tank and I'm thinking, yeah, that water tank's a bit rusty. And as I look around, I think, yeah, that water tank's a bit empty. Well, as our journey to the homestead progresses, we see the old sulky there. A tastefully crafted Chippendale bench. Chip goes down that end, Dale goes up that end. A relaxing armchair, complete with high back. But once inside, you can see Sue is, I thought she was ironing some socks there.
Going to bed.
Oh, she's going to bed, is she? Indeed, with the light behind her. So they started to, it's interesting, the anchor motif right behind Sue's hat. Yes, very odd to have an anchor this far away from the sea. There's Mummy, Daddy and little baby. And in the parlour we have the old Singer sewing machine.
There you are,
The
sewing machine.
Yes. And we've got the Teletubbies sitting on the bench. We're all set up for afternoon tea. The scales of justice are swaying in the breeze as Sue disappears out the door.
Fell out the door.
Fell out the door?
Yes.
Oh dear, poor old Sue. Even comes complete with the latest hi-fi mono equipment. At first sight, you could be excused for thinking that these were just 3 bits of corrugated iron or 3 bits of aluminium, but these in fact are vanes from the Australian icon of the water windmill. So they're actually blades of the windmill. Well, we're now in the School of the Air, and Sue's sitting at the school desk. In the good old days, kids used to just come in from the surrounding areas and they would sit at these desks, and the teacher in fact would talk to them through the two-way radio. So this was the classroom for the School of the Air. Well, here it is. That's not just a funny piece of modern art. At this time, 1050 or 1051, on the 27th of whatever it is, we are now on the Tropic of Capricorn, and what's actually happening is that the coach is weighted there. Some of our German friends were told that it gets hotter over that line, so they've started to head south, and goodness only knows when they're going to stop. But as far as they're concerned, this is as far. Oh, they're coming back. They've decided they can take the heat. So that's it. And Susan is around here somewhere. Yeah, there's Susie. So it's right foot in non-tropical Australia, left foot in tropical Australia, and there we go. And I'm just, gosh, truth, it's hot on this side of the line. Oh, no, definitely cooler on that side of the line. Okay, so we've done all the tropical jokes, but from this point onwards, looking north, and there will be a bit of sun as I go north, it's going to get much hotter and much wetter. Let's have a look at the road. Well, the Americans pride themselves on the gun barrel highway, and I've got to tell you, is something coming? Nothing's coming? No. So there we go. That's the road that we're going all that way. Dead straight. Well, we just noticed this BP tanker pulled up at the side of the road. There's nothing overly unusual, except the size of the tanker. That is one complete BP petrol tanker.
Right.
Oh, wow. Well, here we are in the Devil's Marbles. This is a Devil's Marble. You've got to be pretty big to handle one of these. In fact, it's too big for me. In fact, this is the biggest ball I've had my hands on today.
The only bloody one you're going to get your hands on too, mate.
That's incredible. Absolutely incredible.
I'm huffing and puffing because I'm galloping all over these marble things, which at my age I really shouldn't be doing. There's Susie in amongst them.
I am.
You am.
It's nice and cool down here.
I'll bet it is. So I'm now going to turn around and give us a nice panorama of the area. One of the interesting things about this area is not just the Devil's Marbles, but it's also very close to the UFO capital of Australia, where the majority of the UFO sightings in Australia have been made at a place called Warhope or Warchop or whatever you like to call it. And when you look at these very ancient rock formations, you wonder if the original story about the rainbow serpent coming through and laying eggs is true, or whether the devil really was playing marbles, or whether there's anything up there. Okay, well, I'll climb down from here now. That's the rock where I was just now. So I'll climb down and pick up the story from ground level. Yeah, it really is quite incredible, just looking at the formation of these things. Now they're changed shots now, but this really is the sort of area where you can imagine UFOs just appearing above the trees, and little green men getting out to refill their fuel tanks with whatever little green men fill their fuel tanks with. Okay, well, that's it from the Devil's Marbles. We're heading on now for Tennant Creek, which I'm sure will be a whole heap of fun. Well, not quite. Just found Susie up a rock, so we'll take a picture of Susie up a rock. There's Susie up a rock, trying very hard not to fall off. Let's hope she doesn't. Mind you, the insurance is all paid up, so I could get rich here. Oh, it wasn't that hard, was it? Not like the ones I went up. Okay, Tennant Creek next.
I know, it's... So there. In fact, I was sitting in front of the camera making a rude sign to Jeffrey because he's moaning at me again.
But you're so easy to moan at.
We'll finish off Sunday the 26th. After we'd done the washing and had our cup of tea and our very nice lunch, we then walked to the Royal Flying Doctor Service and met up with the coach party. Very fascinating. By God, they do a lot of air miles and coverage of all the people on the stations, and the blooming government don't support them, which I think is disgusting. From there we went to the telegraph station and saw how the first telegraph posts and everything was set up. And of course we saw the springs in Alice Springs in the middle of the creek. And as you would expect, Aborigine children were playing where it said, please do not swim.
Yes, in fact on the commentary I was looking at the river. At the time I didn't realise that that was actually the spring where the people were swimming. Did you mention we'd been to the Flying Doctor service?
I certainly did.
Okay.
And from there we went to Anzac Hill, which was brilliant because it was high on top of a hill, commemorating those, of course, who had died in war.
Don't mention the war with all these jokes.
Don't mention the war, whatever you do. And there was a 360-degree
Panorama.
view of Alice Springs, which was absolutely fantastic.
Most of which we have on tape.
We do, so you'll be able to see that.
You will already have seen it, actually.
Have you?
Well, no, because this is the end of the tape.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, of course, we had a very nice meal last night. We had oysters, oysters Kilpatrick, which were yummy, and porterhouse steak, which was absolutely sensational.
We both had that, didn't we?
And a good bottle of red wine, mate. Now,
Or a bottle of good red wine.
that's the one. Today is Monday the 27th, and we caught the early bus, and we went to the School of the Air so that we could see how the children were schooled from the one spot in Alice Springs, and there are 39?
Don't know.
Yes, I think it was 39 School of the Air classrooms set up across Australia, which is brilliant again. But once again, government funding doesn't run to that, so they have to fund most of their new equipment and stuff from the little lights flashing.
Yes, that's telling me I've got less than 5 minutes on the tape.
From customer
So that's a wind it up.
donations when you buy stuff at the shop. From there we went to the Bond Springs cattle station, which is a working cattle station. I wasn't terribly interested in that, but it was pleasant.
Well, we've got some footage.
We have some footage. We had a nice muffin and a cup of tea. And from there we then did the long flog from Alice Springs right up to where we are at the moment in Tennant Creek. We went through Wauchope and had lunch. Blooming camel decided to eat my ice block, which was quite funny. Very friendly camel, but thought my ice block.
Except when he was after your ice block. Yeah.
And he chased me. But I gave them the ice block in the end, and he said thank you very much.
Actually went, Meow!
There we go.
Oh, you heard. The other interesting thing you meant was at the mobile fuel station in Wauchope, there were some green guys in the petrol station.
Oh yes, it's supposed to be the highest concentration of UFOs seen in the Australian skies. So there's this one petrol station where they've got little green men outside filling up a tank of their flying saucer or whatever before they whiz back to Mars or wherever it is they come from, and everybody sort of wears alien t-shirts and what have you. But never mind, it was fascinating. From Wauchope we went to Devil's Marbles, which were brilliant, and Jeff took lots of footage which you will have already seen. And we are now in Tennant Creek at the Bluestone Motor Inn. We've had a very scrumptious dinner. Considering it's a one-horse town and there are only 2 people in the kitchen, they fed all 20 of us, or 21 of us, admirably. It was a very nice meal, and we're just finishing off this tape and going to bed. So it's good night from me.
And it's good night from me.
And from both of us, good night, farewell, adieu, à bientôt, goodbye, all of the rest.
And it's switched to tape number 2.
Please.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Press the button.
Who, me?
You.
Okay.
You little sod.
Bye now. Well, welcome to side 2, or tape 2. We had to stop here because the traffic light was at red, and they claim this is Australia's most remote traffic light. But you wouldn't think you'd hear the music behind me. The other thing you wouldn't realise, the traffic light is always on red, so everybody has to stop at the pub. And this pub is quite a blokey thing, isn't it? Really and truly.
Very much a blokey thing.
Follow me. This is the historic Daily Waters pub. Daily Waters pub.
Established 1930, which was probably when the camel train still ran on steam. Bruce and Marge are a couple of characters. Well, they say they're a couple of characters because it says so everywhere. The only birds in this place are in a cage. They're way over there. The birds are over there.
There they are. Poor things, they should be out and flying around. And this is the rest of the pub, as you can see. Isn't it wonderful?
It's delightfully remote, isn't it?
A building of sartorial elegance.
Well, not sartorial elegance, but certainly, how shall I put it, architectural charm. And I think it comes from the early corrugated iron period. So there's a lot of corrugated iron and not too much stone in there. The music is post-1930, of course. In fact, I don't know if you could ever call Elvis Presley music. Let's have a look inside, shall we?
Okay, go.
Well, I'm now standing by the wine cellar. We have a various array of different vintages here. We, of course, start off with the, now where is it? Yes, the Chateau Neuf de Caltex, which was a very good week. Puy Sans Jerry Can, little rich in iron, this particular one. We do have the Poto Vegemite, which is also a good week, and some of the more exotic things. Believe it or not, this one says Brook Bond's PG Tips, but somehow I don't believe it. What else have we got here? That says light the blue touch paper and retire immediately. So, in fact, we've got a very good selection of grogs down here. And I don't like the music that's playing at the moment. For those who are connoisseurs of music of the 50s, they make it, yeah, 50s. This is Dwayne Eddy and 40 Miles of Bad Road, this tune is called. So there you go, 40 Miles of Bad Road. I hope we got slightly less than 40 Miles of Bad Road ahead of us. So, from our intrepid reporter, this is Martin Raincoat reporting from the Australian outback saying, hello, g'day, and how you going, mate?
Now the other sideline of this pub is their part-time lingerie, what I suppose you call it, donation service. So any young lady who is prepared to remove it and donate it gets a free glass of water, which in these places is, that's going some, get a free glass of water. But what an incredible place. If you want to look at some money, follow me. So if you're ever broke and you're on that 40 miles of bad road, there's just a little currency to keep you going before you end up in the inevitable police station. The police are looking for the person who stole the sign, but because they can't find the sign, they can't actually prosecute anybody. In looking at this array of naval crests and things, you should note that we are over 1,000 kilometres still south of Darwin, 2,000 kilometres north of Adelaide, and at least 1,500 kilometres from the east coast and maybe 3,000 kilometres from the west coast. And these are some ships which ran aground here because they managed to leave their ship's crests and the odd hat band behind. So any of those ships that ran aground, well, we're terribly sorry. And of course, apart from heads, there's the menu. You're going to have a steak sandwich and hamburger, toasted savage, and of course credit given to women over 80, but only if accompanied by their mother. So I still haven't discovered what bum nuts on toast is. I suspect it means bacon and beans. And of course we've got the Outback Servo, the service station. This is for people who like to drink a lot, because you get fueled at the pub and then you get to fuel your vehicle. Geez, this is remote, you know. You see, I thought Kalala was near Tamworth, but obviously Kalala isn't. So there we go. Real outback Australia. Look at the birds. Look at the birds. Look at the birds. Look at the birds. Daily Waters, what a place. Well, the point of this picture is to show how the countryside is now changing. I'm going to swing to the front of the coach. I was going to try and get a tighter shot, but we've been catching flying ants on the front windscreen, and all the camera wants to do is to focus on that. The cloud cover is now much more dense and will remain as such because we're now well and truly into the tropics. The foliage is thickening up, so the bush and scrub is now giving way to relatively lush and green conditions. And I hope, because I can't see, but I hope the odd termite mound shows on this, which is all part of the conversion process. Later on, as we get further north into Kakadu Park, we'll go from this into near enough tropical rainforest. Okay, well now we have a challenge because we've got a road train in front of us. We've got a nasty corner coming up, and let's see how we deal with it. The answer is we slow down. Down 90. There was a book written by an Australian woman called We Are the Never Never about a place called Elsie Homestead. This is the actual place at which that homestead was. The original homestead is gone, knocked over by floods and tempests and things, but they have reconstructed a replica of it, and that's what we're going to have a look at right now. It's very typically Australian, corrugated iron roof, big wide verandas, which are incredibly cool. I'd say it was about 34 degrees now and very humid, and we'll see what it's like when I get under the veranda. For reasons I don't quite understand, it actually looks better from the outside than in the inside. I'd say it's about 34 degrees and 80% humidity in here. It didn't actually make a whole heap of difference. They've got it all barbed wire, well not barbed wire, but all sort of meshed off for the poor simple members of the public, but yeah, it's wattle and daub that we've seen before. Of course, the problem with wattle and daub is it's not exactly great on privacy, is it? I thought we'd actually end up looking outside. This, of course, is the authentic version, complete with cobwebs and fully populated by nice spiders that bite and sting. I can understand why when her husband died she nicked off, actually. Not sure I'd like to live in this place. That's a recreation, not a very good one. Hold on. Yeah, recreation of the lady herself and her husband, who was so much taller. She was supposed to be quite short. A bit amateurish, really. Quite frankly, looking at the sweep of the veranda, I would imagine they spent most of their time outside. I mean, it's actually cooler out than it is in. And continuing the theme of the veranda, I mean, quite frankly, I'd live outside and not inside. I mean, the view from here is, of course, totally spectacular. Well, I think it's spectacular. Bearing in mind this is still outback Australia, I think it's rather delightful. Well, now we've seen that and the appropriate ventilation, I think we'll go and have a look at the thermal pools and the rest of the thing that's around here. Being truly, it's not, if you must live in the Australian countryside, it's not bad, but because of the humidity and the heat and the remoteness, I wouldn't wish to live here. Well, these are not birds flying around making all this frightful noise. These are bats. Simply hundreds of them. And they've just moved in, taken the area over, and unfortunately they do what bats do best, which is make a lot of noise and a lot of smell. Yeah, they land in your hair and they tear your eyes out and all that sort of stuff, but I'm sure Sue will be quite happy to go through with this. So, walking through bat-infested territory. We haven't got bats in the belfry. Come
on, Batman.
Okay. So Bat Lady is now heading for the hills. Or more exactly, heading for the thermal pools. Well, that's not fruit hanging in that tree. That's just all the bats just hanging around being a nuisance.
In batteries.
In batteries, did you say?
Batteries.
Totally batty, yes. Well, this is the object of the trek, to reach the thermal pools, which everybody say are absolutely wonderful. It's not a swimming pool, it's just naturally occurring hot water that comes out of the ground. Why on earth would you want hot water around here, I ask myself. The interesting thing about spring water or mineral water is its cleanliness. It's absolutely clean, absolutely pure, and you can see right to the bottom down there. It's just really quite astonishing. Well, it's not astonishing, but you know, it's just interesting. And yes, you're right, that is a spider. On the other side, however, the water is dark and muddy and murky, and there's no swimming signs indicate this is not the place for human beings to be. So on one side you've got dirty, filthy, muddy water, and then just 5 meters away this beautiful, pure stuff which people are swimming in. We're going to have a walk around and see some more. Well, it's an option that you've got to take, isn't it? I've always wanted to have a look at Stevie's hole, so let's follow our noses. Mind you, the noses are doing pretty well with the bats. However, in this humidity and heat, 1.2 kilometres is too far even for that. So we're going back again. There goes your mother. Yes. She thinks she's a bat as well. What she doesn't realise, that tree is absolutely full of them above her head. Yeah. Okay, we're now in crocodile country. We did miss yesterday's one because the battery jacked up on this, so we've got a new battery and we've got a backup video. So, what are we about to do? Is it a crocodile cruise?
Yes.
Are we going to get eaten?
Yes.
Oh good. I think the camera's just steamed up, it's so humid.
Yes, it has. I can see it.
Oh dear. Okay. Well, I'm a bit worried, the boat's starting to sink. And there's the life buoy. The problem is, do crocodiles know that you don't eat people if they're in one of these? Well, here we go on the intrepid crocodile hunt. We're on the Yellow River. There's a song about that. Yellow River, Yellow River. And if I see a crocodile, I'll get my hands inboard. If that doesn't work, we're going to throw a couple of passengers over the side and see who we can get.
Now, in the words of the great Bob, this is the life. Should I sit or should I lie?
Why don't you jump over the side and make an alligator happy?
Well, make you happy.
No, I wouldn't. Hello, we must be coming up to one. Whoa! Yeah, this is worse than the search for the Loch Ness Monster. I can see some movement over there. Is it a crocodile? Is it the Loch Ness Monster? Well, the answer is... Oh, excuse me. Can I have my right arm back? Nothing special going on there. I just like the view of that. I just think it looks rather peaceful as we drift on by. These palms are called Jim Jim, and they're used for making baskets. Well, the Aborigines use them for making baskets. And you can see we've just passed a marker which says the water level is 1.4 metres above its normal height. So this is well and truly flooded, and you know, we're a good 4 foot off the ground. Seems odd because I thought we were underwater. Well, still no crocodiles or alligators or anything like that, but as Sue just said, ain't this lovely? And it's very, very pretty. It's really, really, really nice, isn't it, Sue?
It is, it's absolutely gorgeous.
He's coming towards us.
Like it?
Oops, sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
Very small one. Yeah, I look for the big one, which I saw in the
Quite a
movie.
crocodilian.
Very close. I wait for the crocodile done.
Right. So you can see how underwater we are here. You can definitely call this wetland, and it really is wet. You walk down that and you'll come back with no legs. Sort of legless walking trail, really. Up ahead was some bubbling, and I'm hoping it's a crocodile, but it's probably fish. I don't know what he is. He's a sea eagle. Well, I think we're getting to the end of where we were going to go. There's all this noise and stuff, and if any self-respecting crocodile would have done a runner by now, I reckon. It's certainly very, very pretty, but I think I'd have sort of hid underwater just not to listen to the girl's voice. So yeah, there we are. But no, well, just that one croc who quite smartly disappeared. Can you blame him?
Or they have chicks too, baby chicks.
It would appear to be that that bird was actually sitting on a nest, and there's the nest with the eggs in. So if we've got any decency at all, we'll get out of here fairly quickly so that the bird can get back to the nest. There's the bird, see, and somewhere around here are his chicks.
There
they
is the
are.
kleine, sister.
They're
See the small one?
Can't find them, I've lost them. Oh well.
You will not see them on the picture.
They're out there somewhere. You're right, you can hardly see them.
3 o'clock, Jeff.
I can see them without the viewfinder. There they are. Got them.
They have two, huh?
Little tiny chick. Tiny, and they're walking on the water. So I suppose they're called jacanas, which I suppose the initials JC make them JC birds. And only JC was able to walk on water. Okay, this shot isn't for the tree, it's for the reflection. I just thought that was rather a nice thing with the tree mirrored in the water. I think it looks rather nice. And there's another nice piece of mirroring up in front as well, with the standard trees in the water. And something moving. What is it? Is it a crocodile? No! Anyway, we're still hunting crocodiles. Be very, very quiet. We're hunting for crocodiles. Okay, well the next part of our trip, and it's getting towards lunchtime now, is towards the An Bang Bang Gallery. Was it Gang Bang? Okay, let's see what happens. Quote from Susan. Aren't these whatever they are very pretty? Well, yes they are. I wonder what they are. But they're very pretty. They're at the side of the track. There goes Susie. We're about to climb up to the rock paintings. So start climbing, kiddo. Okay. So you can hear our tour guide in the background, but we're under a massive rock overhang. And if you look up here, see if I can find it. There we go. We've even got a hole in the rock where the water's coming through, following a tree naturally down. The bottom of the tree is the back of Susan's head. The rest of the party's over there. But what we have here is an actual story of hunting. You see the kangaroo is actually looking fairly sick. It's looking fairly sick because the guy on the right with the evil eye and the big long nose has just speared him. So you've actually got multiple events taking place. You've got the spear, which is there, and you've got the woomerer for throwing the spear. So both showing carrying the spear, throwing the spear, and the result of the thing. And then someone else has come along. If I don't fall over anything, I did fall over something, bugger. Sorry, that hurt. And there is just a kangaroo, just standing, like target practice, I assume. Okay. The other interesting thing is that these are not just random holes. These are in fact the artist's palette, where he would actually mix it and in that long one you'd have the individual colours in the small things, they'd be mixed together in different shades in the long bit, and there's some other colours on the other side. Also, looking at that hand mark there, that's a bit like an artist's signature. That wasn't done just for the hell of putting your hand there. It was actually to say, this is my hand and I did it. The previous pictures we looked at were, they think, 20,000 years old. This one was easy to date, although we've got fish there and we've got all sorts of strange things there. This is the dead giveaway, this bit here, which is obviously a rifle and obviously relates to Westerners having come to Australia. So you can say this is definitely within settled time, and it would be very interesting to know what the actual story behind this picture was, because they would paint a picture and then tell a story that goes with it, and probably the story behind this one's been lost. On the face of it, this looks like a bit of a mess, really. You know, there's arms and legs and bodies and things all over the place. But the only thing we know about it, it relates to traditional dance. What Sue's just referred to as a corroboree, which was a men-only thing, so there'd be no Sheilas, just the blokes. It would seem smarter to actually look at the description rather than try and read this, but his name is Narbel Win, and he eats Sheilas, it says here, and there he is. I don't know what he eats them with. That's extremely difficult to spot, but whatever he is, he's proud of his equipment. Sometimes it's easier if you just read the words. I'm not actually going to stay on it for very long, but there is a full description of what's going on here, and there's a great deal going on, as you can tell. And if anybody's really that interested, you can pause the tape and have a look at it. But you've got all these various things occurring. The short story to it is, and I've got to sort of move back and try not to trip over too many things, the central figure is the Lightning Man. And the Lightning Man lives out of doors, and basically, you know, if you don't watch it and you do something wrong, you break the law, he'll throw lightning bolts at you. The other part of it, the Lightning Man has sisters who sometimes get bored being up in the sky, and they come down as crocodiles. So the sisters of the Lightning Man, and you can tell the sisters, I think, because they're slightly top-heavy there, but the sisters of the Lightning Man come down to earth, and then they live in the billabongs, and again, if you've been bad, if the Lightning Man hasn't got you, then his sisters, the crocodiles, will. So you can imagine what it would be like just having the stories told, because this is like a classroom. This would be you know, the main presentation, and they'd be looking at that, and they'd be talking about it. So you've got this lovely natural setting, and lovely bush, and lovely ladies, and all sorts of things like that. So you're sitting around, and they're telling the story of the Lightning Man, and I don't know, maybe there's somebody in the cave in there cooking. You can see that there's still more things occurring in there. So this, to the Aborigines, was a very major place to be. It was not just, I suppose, like going to the movies on a Saturday night. You'd have a barbecue and tell some stories and sit around and all that sort of stuff. And in fact, all the Aborigines have remembered is the bit that says sit around. So there you go, the Lightning Man and his sisters. Possibly 2,000 or 3,000 years old. Well, this is one of the most difficult videos I've ever taken. It is Millennium Eve, it's New Year's Eve. That is the eye of the crocodile in which we have been staying. My lens is all fogged up. I'm being eaten alive by the local flies, which is very nice of them. This is the alligator motel that we've been staying in, and I'll stop for a second. That there is one of the alligator's feet. I think it's the front claw. I think backwards over here somewhere. Yeah, so that's the front claw, and then down there somewhere, like I said, is the back claw. It's extremely difficult for me to see because everything's steamed up. It's so humid. It really is incredibly humid. So that's the alligator motel in which we are staying at the moment. And there's the eye. The evil eye looking at us. Right, we're now on the super luxurious part of the trip. on the old track, aren't we?
Magic bus.
The magic bus. Wow! Penetrating deep into the Aussie bush. Down at the Wildman River. We're crocodile hunting again, and this time let's hope we find some crocodiles. So far all I've got is the back of people's heads, so whoa! So there we go. Let's go crocodile hunting. Well, we are now going through floodwaters to add to our delights. Well, we made it. This is Australia's largest flying bird. It's wading and Brolga. Olga Zabrolga. And we're still very, very wet up here. Very, very wet. There's our intrepid tour guide, Ulrika, sitting by the door. So if that's why they don't want to come. It's a bit wet and stuff. But if anybody pulls out the door, it's going to be Ulrika. Isn't it? Yeah.
It certainly is.
Yeah. He's looking happy. Cheer up, Liebchen. These are wild Brahmin, actually. They're not just cows, but they're contrary to common belief. Okay. And still we get deeper and deeper into the bush. Our magic bus, I think, leaking. Oh my God, what's going on? Oh boy. I hope it's worth it. Oh. At last. Water.
I've got the head start.
Oh, yes.
This one here gets the head start on the ladies.
Well, there we are. Based on previous experience, this is the closest we'll get to a crocodile today. One warning sign, but never mind.
Whenever they see Ulrika coming, they will run away.
Yes. Okay, well, we're doing it again. We're out looking for crocodiles, and in the event we find one, I'm sure I'll be the last to know. Well, there's a bloody great flock of magpie geese, and if somebody shouts, they're all going to take off in a second. Go on, somebody shout, "Oi! Bugger off!" No, it's going to sit there. Dumb birds. And behind we've got a bloody great water buffalo.
Look at the horns on it.
Yeah. They are officially a pest to be shot on sight. He's a big bugger, that, isn't he?
Vielleicht auf der Rückfahrt.
Das kleine Spiel. Hinten, vorne und hinten.
Yeah. Oh, well, I suppose that's about as wild as you can
Dem
get.
möchte ich keine Freundschaft.
Oh, look, buffalo's going to size us up in a minute.
Yeah. Oh, there they go. Something spooked them. I wonder what. Too late for what?
I shouldn't have put my camera.
Well, it's peaceful and it's pleasant and it's tranquil and what else? Huddy Blot, yeah. I suppose the weather forecast, Sue, would be what? About 35 degrees and 90% humidity?
Yes, easily.
Easily, yeah, there you go. Well, according to our intrepid guide, we're just about to enter crocodile country. Somehow I don't believe it, but never mind. Oh, it's a bird. Sticking out like a shag on a rock, as we say in Australia. Some form of heron. Oh, it's called a dart. I think I can see why.
Cormorant.
And more birds. So obviously these wet areas support a multitude of life. Yeah. That is a sea eagle on top of the trees. But being such a noble bird, we don't seem to be able to con him into going anywhere. He's going to wait until there's something to eat. So
they're gorgeous, aren't they?
they are absolutely beautiful. A sea eagle resting on top of a tree. Well, we're now in the middle of the crocodile-infested Mary River system. And as you can see from this video, there's crocodiles leaping at us from all directions. Oh goodness me, one's right behind me. Yes. well, that's it. The only time you see them is when they're eating you. So I think this is probably all the crocodiles we're going to see. Now, one of the most interesting things about the crocodile is its ability to copy floating or semi-submerged objects. And here we have a perfect example of a floating or semi-submerged object which looks exactly like a crocodile. How'd you go in there, didn't I? Okay, this isn't altogether fair. These poor birds are just sitting there, mind their own business. They're going to make a noise and make them...
Lovely.
Oh, that's one for the ecology, isn't it? Struth, we finally got one. A real one. I'm standing up in the boat and I'm feeling a bit of a nana here. Bloody hell.
He's a big one.
That is a real one. Oh, well, it was all worthwhile. What a way to spend New Year's Day. Sorry, New Year's Eve.
Yes!
Hang on, hold on. Oh,
Would you like to swim over?
no, I'd like you to walk over there, Reinhardt. Hello, he's coming this way. Hello, he's coming this way. Gone.
Jetzt ist es weg. Ist doch noch gekommen.
Günther, hast du auf der Kiste?
Jo, ich nehme dann.
I think that was for Germany. He's going to sneak up behind. Oh, there he is. Couldn't give a toss about us.
Triathletes, you know the surf carnivals? They say when the top triathletes leave the water to run up the beach, they're doing 6 kilometres an hour. I reckon these salties can leave the water doing 38 kilometres an hour. Half their body length, the length between their nose and their back leg is half their body length. Half their body length is in their tail, and that's where their power is.
Coming out nicely.
Yeah, they say they can jump, they can get their back
They can jump?
body length out of the water even a bit.
Well, here we are in Darwin.
Well, here we are.
What is it? It's 7:45 in the evening. We're just about to go down for dinner at 8 o'clock. It's been a fantastic holiday. It's nearly over now, unfortunately. And coming back to civilization was pretty bleak. However, we got used to the traffic lights and the other cars on the road and people walking up and down. And we've had a nice relaxing couple of hours, having a shower, etc. And we're going to join in with the New Year's celebration. So we're going to have dinner at 8, come up here for 10 o'clock to watch Sydney go into the New Year to see all the fireworks. And we're going out, because our hotel's on the Esplanade, we're going to go outside and see the fireworks here. So it's going to be fantastic. Yay!
Well, after that, what else can I say other than yes, she's right? If anybody can hear the music in the background, that's because we're watching the Today 2000, I think it's called, the Change the Millennium program. So they've already had New Year on Tonga, and we've now got Chatham Island having the year 2000. The Y2K bug hasn't struck yet, but the lifts in the hotel are being turned off at 11:15. So we'll just have to see what happens. No. News from Sydney, of course, is 1.5 million people around the shore. News from London is, oh, strength, we got it wrong. Our Ferris wheel doesn't work, so the Millennium Wheel won't actually turn. So, what do they say? Proud, big wheels keep on turning, proud Mary keeps on churning. Ain't gonna happen in London. Sorry, guys and girls. So, we're going to go and have something to eat. I'm quite sure that there will be some more Millennium festivities. Do you realise that this really is 2000 minus 4 and a bit? 2000 minus 4 hours and 10 minutes.
Counting down.
Counting down. Incredible.
Well, for us on New Year's Eve, this is the centre of the known universe. This is the Atrium Hotel in Darwin. We're looking at the people downstairs where we could be going soon. Not too sure. I think we're in this bit over here, or will be. And then the high spot of the evening, as I look up, is the balloon drop, which will occur at midnight. I can hardly wait. Well, this is it. This is New Year's morning. And the first thing I've discovered is that my camera is Y2K compliant. Isn't that incredible? It's a grey day here in Darwin. I'm going to put the date back on so we can see it. A grey day in Darwin as we look due north. Really all we can see is just a few ships in the harbour. The smell of oil coming from the oil rigs over there. And as I pan around, a scene of almost total desolation as a lone street sweeper starts working on the festivities of the previous night. I'm standing on the Esplanade in Darwin. Most people didn't go to bed until 5 o'clock. Stu and I, of course, celebrated Sydney New Year. I think one of the nice things about Darwin is that everybody seems to have used the rather elegant litter bins. I mean, there's a bit of devastation, but when you consider the number of people who were here last night, I think they've all acted remarkably well. And now glimpsing through the trees is our hotel, the Novotel, and I noticed that the Australian Pacific Tours bus is in, so I better get myself loaded and we'll brave the rain and go to the crocodile farm today. Well, here's the crew. There's Sue hiding behind a lamppost. Lindsay was... there's a picture of Lindsay's bum. Don't know what he's doing, but Lindsay's our driver, and he was just cleaning the windscreen. And Sue's diving into her bag for something. What I don't quite know. She wants me to come to her. Well, what we're looking at in the distance could be perceived to be a graveyard, but it's not. I'm still keeping 112,000 up there. I like seeing it. I'll take it off tomorrow. These are what they call magnetic termite mounds. There's nothing magnetic about it, it's just the way the termites build them. And they're very sharp, and they're almost like an axe blade. I'll try and get a better angle of that one. Well, that's about the best angle I can get on this one. And you can see it's incredibly sharp. And actually, because there's a bit out of the side and hasn't been repaired, suggests that this isn't occupied by termites anymore. But these are grass-eating termites, so they're not doing too much damage, or if they were home. But they're built so that they face due north and south, sorry, due east and west, so that the sun doesn't actually... no, it is north and south. They're facing 10 degrees off magnetic north. Sorry, 10 degrees off... Oh, shut up, Jeffrey. Well, it is New Year's Day. They're 10 degrees off true north. So that they are warm in the morning, warm in the evening, and cool during the day.
That's nice.
Right, now I'm using Sue's head just as an example. Okay, Sue, would you like to move to the right? Move to the right. And there's the Thumping Great Termite Mound. Yes, they are.
Broadside on.
Broadside on, as the lady says. Okay.
Yes. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Happy New Year.
Yes.
Happy New Year to you.
What we can see here is your more typical termite mound. That must be...
A cathedral mound.
It is a cathedral mound. It must be at least 3 metres tall. No, it's bigger than that. It's at least 4 metres tall. So,
It's a big bugger with lots of little termites in them.
oh, termites, yes. Yeah. So, here we are, deep in the Aussie bush on New Year's Day, having recovered from Darwin on New Year's morning. And we're going to see some termite mounds, we're going to see a waterfall, and some crocodiles today. Well, I think somebody left the tap running. I can hear a lot of water, and goodness me, yes, there's definitely an awful lot of water. Lots and lots of water, lots and lots of Germans as well, making lots and lots of noise, but never mind, that's the way things happen around here. So this is almost like the falls at Jurassic Park, isn't it? Just imagine the helicopter swooping in, and then up we go the falls, and through there are the dinosaurs. Well, crocodiles almost are dinosaurs, and we almost are at the crocodile farm. We'll get there in the end. Wiedersehen. What a fantastic New Year's Day though. Isn't that flipping incredible? Well, still more magnificent falls. This pool is getting a bit full. You can see, funny thing is the steps going down there, and yet the signs saying beware of crocodiles. So what do? You will either beware of crocodile signs. Yes, I'm taking 2 steps back from the edge. Crocs meet someone else. Look at the water coming through there. Really is a magnificent sight. I'm going to try and find another vantage point. So on the one hand we've got caution telling you about water safety and how to swim in the pool. Then the next sign says warning, crocodiles. I mean, what do you want to do? Are you going swimming or are you going to be food for crocodiles? Well, same falls, different perspective. You can see the buckets of water coming down there. It'd be very refreshing to have a shower underneath that, wouldn't it? Sort of stand on that point, let it glurp all over you. Oh yeah. Splash and then a plunge in the pool and a nice gobble by a crocodile. Do I mean a nice gobble by a crocodile? I don't know what I mean. Sort of leave that on the wall on all the time and just watch it, couldn't you? You'll go to sleep now. I've just noticed the life buoy in the trees over there. The reason why it's red is it doesn't show the blood if the crocodiles get you. Whoa, yes. But it is a very tranquil bush setting. Twin Falls.
Take him home with the tent? I'd like to take him home. What do you think?
She'd like to take him home. Only because his jaws are taped shut, or alternatively only because he's stuffed. Is he?
No, it's not really tired.
So is he stuffed or is he just a little tired?
He's a little tired, darling.
A little tired?
It's just because his mouth's tied up and he knows he can't bite anyone, so it's just...
Yeah, who's a pretty boy then? Okay, next one.
Okay.
We're playing pass the croc here. See if chicken's out or croc's out.
Okay.
You can see the big white warrior.
It didn't snap so much though.
Well, it's not a snapping handbag yet.
Snapping handbag? No. Alright, who's next? Sorry, Gunther. Well, is it a log or is it a croc? Or is it a croc-a-log? These are things that we should have discovered in the rivers on our trip. They don't move a lot, do they? So you can understand why we probably didn't see them. They were there, but we didn't see them. Well, either this one's stuffed or...
Shall I prod him?
Well, let's give it a kick and see how good the mesh is, shall we?
He's breathing.
You reckon it's breathing?
He's moving. He's actually moving.
Go on, poke him with a stick.
No.
No, right. Well, I don't know where he's going.
Probably smell.
But there's a meat laying there, and it's not.
Ah, it might be second-hand meat. It's getting close to feeding time. There's a couple of logs out there waiting.
Look at them all.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome to Crocodile's Park. My name is Lagoon.
I didn't even see that one. Just blending in with the water and under. That's why I didn't see. That's what the blighters do.
Have a guess. More than 50? Between 50 and 80.
Oh.
So I said they're all 7 and 10 years of age. That's twice
She's
the size
throwing
of
meat
a
at 'em.
7 to 10-year-old in the wild. Now basically that just boils down to the more you feed them, the faster and bigger they will grow. Now in the wild, these guys would only have to eat about once a week. As I said, only juveniles, probably a barramundi, a bird or a mud crab. Only quite small animals. With your larger prey, of course, they'll feed on your larger animals. For example, a water buffalo or a horse.
This poor little thing down here.
Never smile at a crocodile.
Now they didn't actually have to see us to know that we were up here. They have binocular vision with a 30% crossover. Now they have sensor pits all underneath their stomach. These allow them to pick up vibration. So basically, if we walk along the path, vibrations in the ground.
We're going fishing. We are fishing for crocodiles here.
Oh, that's teasing him.
She wants him to jump up a bit more. Come on, Bruce. Go for it, mate.
Come on, Bruce.
Come on, Bruce. Come on. Who's a pretty boy
He's
then?
very lazy. You can never get him to jump, he's just too fat.
Now, I have to be very, very careful because Bruce can jump. So that's Bruce, and he's maybe 6 meters. And that's Bruce's bride, who's much, much smaller, and she's about 3 meters. So you can see the difference between the male and the female. This was the largest crocodile caught in Darwin. They caught him 4.5 meters long. That's without his tail because it's been bitten off. And he was found lurking near the pub, and they reckon he figured out that somebody's going to go for a swim. He was going to have him. Yeah, he's a big boy, is this one. We're still fishing for crocodiles here. $5 tons per square inch of the biting power, those jaws. Oh, give it to him anyway. Quick. We're looking here at a pen full of hawksbill turtles. These are part of a research program. This is actually a research facility that we visited here. The crocodiles were in breeding pens, and these are an experiment to see how big they can grow turtles in captivity. The Japanese are commissioning it. And the answer is these are 3 years old, and they're the size of a 30-year-old turtle that would have been in the wild. This is an alligator rather than a crocodile, and they've also got alligators in this park. They are different, different munching apparatus. Don't you smile at me, you sweet talker. You think I'm sticking a leg over there? You've got another thing coming. No legs of lamb for you today, Fido. What else do you call them? I mean, you've got to be friendly to them, haven't you? These are Australian freshwater crocodiles, and apparently these are the pussycats. They're supposed to be more scared of you than you are of them, but I think that smile's still got about 100 razor-sharp teeth in it, and I think I'll just look at the crocodile, smile and say, thank you, bye now. Well, these little beauties are all 5 years old. Again, they're freshwater crocodiles, and aren't they cute? Well, at least they're safe. See, this is another reason why you don't see them in the wild, because the little sods are sort of asleep just underneath the cover, because there's the water out there through the leaves, and there's the crocodile nicely kipping. That's an awful lot of snapping handbags for New Year's Day, isn't it? In this holding pen or lagoon, there are 41 crocodiles. 41. So far I can see one there and one over there.
2 over there.
Well, I can only see that one, so you've got to say, where are the other 39?
Flashing around, they will come up and investigate. Now he smelled the meat straight away, this fella.
Right. I mean, you wouldn't do this off the edge of a bridge, would you? How many times I've told you it's bad manners to yawn without covering your mouth? That's a mouth, isn't it? Just pop your head inside there and wait a couple of minutes. Yeah. Well, we can't complain that we haven't seen crocodiles, because I think we have.
Child overboard?
Unfortunately, I think somebody just lost. Oh, they're fishing again. Fishing at the other end for crocodiles, but I think there's about 50 odd crocodiles in this lagoon. Seems to be total lack of interest.
Yeah, regulates the temperature.
Oh, there we go.
Like alligators, and if they regulate the temperature.
Bye, Fred. Well, we're now journeying back into Darwin. This is the end of the journey. No more sights to see, no more things to do, just push and go home. You can see how elegant the drone, how elegant the entrance is to Darwin. I think this is truly beautiful. If only Sydney was this nice. So I might take the odd shot of interest, but really that's just about the end of the holiday. Well, we've now reached the outskirts of the actual town itself, and I suppose that the most noticeable thing is how clean, neat and tidy it is, but there of course it was well and truly spring cleaned in 1974 by Cyclone Tracy, so everything is by definition fresh, clean and new, and I must admit the northern capital is not what I expected. It's significantly better than I think either of us had anticipated, Sue, isn't it?
Yes.
We've taken bags to rooms and given a bit of a hand there. That was appreciated and it didn't go unnoticed. And for those flying back, safe trip home. Hope all your photos turn out and I hope you have a good year 2000. We'll see what this next 100 years brings to the history of the world. So we'll just make our way up. We'll pull up at the hotel. Just make sure you have everything off the coach because I'm going to be trimming it down ready to travel, so I want to get away early tomorrow morning to head for Sydney. So just make sure you do have everything out of the coach, sunglasses, things like that, because as I said, hopefully I'm going to hit the road around 6ish or something tomorrow, and you won't be able to get them back until the end of the week.
And we're now pulling into the hotel. There we are, no hotel. And probably, yeah, all is left now is the...
Well, and I'll be in the bar around about 6:15, and I will have the final kilometers of today, and I'm going to announce the winner of the kilometer competition. So if you feel, like having a drink before you go out for dinner, well, see you there.
Now, would you believe we haven't had enough travelling? We got in the car at 6:30 this morning, which is Wednesday the 5th of January, and we decided to go up to Queensland, and this is where we are at the moment. We've already done about 900 kilometres, and the scenery around here is quite lovely. And Jeff said to me, be careful of the drip, which he meant on the window. I thought he meant the drip sitting next to me. Oh, which is him, and I've just got an eye full of water.
I wouldn't do that.
Which is not nice of him. So this is just the rest of the holiday. Where is he? Ooh. Hello.
Anyway, I've got to drive.
Okay. And I've just got lots of sky then, so I'm going to stop now and get it later. We're actually going down Cunningham's Gap at the moment, and what you're looking at are some very heavy vehicles that are going down this extremely steep road. The maximum speed is supposed to be 60 miles an hour.
Kilometres?
Kilometres an hour. But I think we're probably doing about 40. And as you can see, there are hairpin bends and everything on this road. Unfortunately, there is nothing that I can break through to get a view. It's a stunning view out of the window, but you just can't see anything, which seems a bit naughty to me.
It's a very female statement, isn't it? It's a great view, but you can't see anything.
Well, you know what I mean. I can see it through the trees sometimes.
There's a truck that ain't going any place.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll see what we can find round the bend, which is where we both are at the moment. Well, this is 2 seconds later. There are still no lookouts to pull into, and we can't stop, unfortunately, because it's no stopping. Now, I'm looking through the viewfinder, and I might just see it through the trees. Do you think I might see it through the trees? There. I don't think so. It's a bit blurred. No, I don't think so. There's bits and pieces. Never mind.
Well, there's the Intrepid Sioux by the Intrepid Sioux mobile. We have stopped finally, but like she was saying, the view, although spectacular, is very difficult to get. Landscape is all lumpy and bumpy, almost lunar in nature through there. Unfortunately, I'm going to look into the sun any second now. I'll pull back the lens on wide, go through the sun and just wear the glare, and that's where we've come from, right up there. So, you know, it's pretty spectacular, isn't it? I think so. Okay, on to the Gold Coast, I think. Well, you hear Sue's camera whirring in the background. We have found a better vantage point, and that's what we would have seen from up high.
It's absolutely beautiful. There's all the little undulating hills, and it's fabulous.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, well it was worth the trip just to get that view, I think.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, quite incredible. So, I told you not to turn left there, but we're underwater now. I mean, what are you going to do about it? I want you to get us out of it. Where are we today?
Under the water in SeaWorld.
Okay.
Bridges device made of leather merely fitted over the head and shoulders with no seal and allowed the diver to work only in a vertical position. If he bent over, the air pocket was lost, forcing him to surface. This apparatus could operate only to a depth of 3 meters, but was considered to be a significant advance and was highly successful at the time. Ships wrecked in more than 3 meters of water remained unsalvageable until something better was designed. For most wrecks, it was a long and bends. The painful condition caused by rapid changes in pressure was a new problem on which the diving industry became focused. Following Japan's entry into the North Australian pearling industry in 1885, cemeteries in Broome, Darwin and Thursday Island were filled with the graves of pearl divers who, wearing the Heike helmet,
ladies and gentlemen, no flash photography please, thank you.
The hard hat diving suit, although revolutionary, limits movement underwater because the air pipes are tethered to the ship from where the air is being pumped. The suit is also bulky, heavy and restrictive.
How's the sun go? Big wheel keeps on turning, proud mirror keeps on churning. We are
just about to go on the sky train. Thank you. I can't think what it was called then.
So here comes our magic bus, number 50. Well, I think it's ours. Yes, it's got to be. It says SeaWorld, so we must be there. Well, here goes the magic sky trip on SeaWorld. There's a lot of world around here and not much sea. Never mind. Oh, there's a pillar. And that's where we're going to. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I can't complain, so I'm not going to. There appears to be a fiery volcano out there somewhere. So it's not belching full smoke and flame anymore. And we have a pod of dolphins below us. Isn't that nice? We're at the dolphin show. This isn't part of the show. These are the actors warming up for the action. I think they're getting a briefing from the trainer. He's going to say, I want a good clean fight, 2 falls, 2 submissions, 1 knockout to declare the winner. And then they're going to come into this arena here, and then they're going to give us the show. So, really looking forward to that. It's just so odd seeing them doing their stuff over there with no audience. Here they come. Where they go? Where they go? Where they go?
This is a dream come true. The perfect home for our marine mammal friends. The perfect place to live and play every single day. Along the way, we're going to highlight natural dolphin behaviours, things they do because they can. because it's a whole lot of fun. Things like this. So remember, when the arms are up, get the cameras ready, don't miss it. Say hi to Scooter. Up comes Kayla. I wasn't quite sure. No, not yet. My hand's just a little crooked. The glue gets damp on that like this. Can't keep it straight. That's Kira, the baby of this particular group, only 7 years old. And Animal has a healthy appetite, consuming about 5% of their overall body weight in fish daily. A quick calculation tells you that's a lot of seafood, especially when you consider we have 35 mouths to feed. And that's just our dolphin family. And it keeps them healthy and strong, able to do the things that you're smiling. It's just smiling. As you can see now why they've earned the nickname Bottlenose Dolphins. Last question.
In the unlikely event the dolphins miss anything, the seagulls will just cover up the remains.
Wow, did you see that? An incredible burst of speed. In fact, some dolphin species can reach up to around 60 kilometers per hour. Similar to a keel on a yacht for stability. The tail is basically all muscle. Right from that dorsal fin, a broad flat. They know how to relax. Perspective. And your chance to view it. Here there's no hiding as they take to the air once again. Quick look around. Grab a breath. All on the move. It's quite late to conserve precious energy. Physically, this should not be possible. But you can see it as well as I can. With friends like these, the return journey is so easy. As much as they may look similar on the outside. Would you like to reach out and make contact with them? Let's put it out in there like this. And start waving. Okay, waving to a dolphin. Just to make you feel good. Of SeaWorld and our very special friends. If you like part of the family, see yourself. I hope you do, folks, because they certainly have adopted you now. Thank you so much for joining us at Dolphin Cove. Have a great day. I know you will. Keep smiling. Bye for now.
Well, Well, here we are aboard the mighty bark Endeavour. Sue's at the wheel, which is probably just as well, because I don't think this boat's going anywhere. I mean, it's neither the Victory nor the Warrior, but it's got a bit of rigging. It's got quite a lot of rigging. And there she is at the bottom. Of course, the dolphins have come to play now. Didn't realise the dolphins have free rein throughout SeaWorld, although this is lifting some of the ropes out of the way. There they go. They're not sharks, they are dolphins. They're good.
Lovely. Absolutely beautiful. It's a wonderful day today.
I know, you're having a wonderful time, aren't you?
Yeah, like a little kid. And we don't have any, which is wonderful.
True. I thought we'd already done this in Kakadu. We were all rocked out. I thought we were all rocked out. Oh, right. This is called Rescue Point Lighthouse. I don't know what they rescued because something screwy going on here. Anyway, it's a lighthouse, and what more can you say other than up there is a light. And now I see what beauty shines from up there. Obviously it's Susie. What does the lighthouse smell like? What does it smell like? She lived in a lighthouse that smelt like a... Yes, well there we are. That's the lighthouse. I might go up and have a look myself in a minute. Well, the view from the lighthouse is quite impressive. We can get a panorama of most of SeaWorld. And those flaming volcanoes, which are still not shooting off.
They've just gone furf.
Where did they go?
Furf.
As soon as I turn this off, they'll go furf again, won't they?
Yeah, furf.
Oh well, never mind. And there's the rest of it. Very nice spot. Can't sing.
see what he's got in store for us. Red Devils, you will have to give him plenty of support, and remember, throughout the competition, you can win bonus points for your cheering. The judges are listening for you, so don't be shy.
Here we go. He hits the weight.
Blue Thunder has set a great standard there. Let's see if the Red Devils can match it.
Today we've got two great cheer squads. Blue Thunder, she's on her second pass. Let's get behind this young lady.
I've got to tell you, it is so high up here. I can't believe these guys are going to plunge headfirst down these sliders, going full throttle on the super jets. Once they emerge from the water, they must then negotiate the obstacles and hurdles around this site whilst maintaining speed and balance. Red Devils, I have a question for you. Is it true that red goes faster? Yeah! Put it together for your man. He's up here. His name is Johnny Cook. Blue Thunder, I need to hear your response. This is your man, Mark Turl. Let's see if he can match the pace of Johnny Cook for the Red Devils. The guys are under starter's orders. The engines are roaring. There is no turning back.
They take it right underneath the water, and now they're up under full throttle. Those crops are taking on a whole lot of water. They've got to pump it out quickly. And now it's on. This is where you just cheer for your man. It's cheer squad against cheer squad. Man against man out there. 50 points up for grabs the first, 25 for second. Here we go. That's it, 25 for first. That's it. Simple and sweet.
Circular site. The first person to their feet will earn 25 points for their team, and then it's a race to the flag. You can see Scott waving that around. It's going to be planted in the beach. First person to pick up that flag will also win 25 points for their team. Once they have taken the leap, it is a race to be standing, so you must get behind your competitor, give them all the support you can. They will be fighting to plant their feet. They've got a lot of pressure on them. They have to make this jump cleanly. Our boat driver is waiting for the best water conditions. It is a matter of timing. It is very important. You can see the concentration on both of our competitors' faces. They want to win the points for their team. They're getting set to jump. Here we go.
Get set to cheer them on!
Well, Susie, we're at the end of our day. What do you think of it?
It's been bloody fantastic. I've been a kid again. I'm so happy.
You always were a kid.
I know.
So,
my ice cream.
yeah, what have we got in here? Oh, it looks very sick to me.
Yes, but Jeffrey has finished his.
Yes, I only had one. You had two. So, right, so today's been a success, has it?
It has, a total success.
Terrific.
Now we're going to go down to Ballina.
Are we? To the honeymoon suite. Okay. Well, today's the last day of our holiday, and we are where?
We're at the lighthouse of Byron Bay, and just look at the scenery. Is somebody going to go off there by the look of it on one of those hang glider jobby whatsies?
Where? Hang glider jobby whatsy.
A little bit more about there.
About there. Hold on, I'll stop. That's the hang glider jobby whatsy. Down there.
And I'll get my binoculars out.
Or it's a UFO. I'm not sure I'd actually want to jump off cliffs around here.
People sitting on the end of it. Ugh.
What are they trying to do? Hold it down?
That's incredible. Isn't it a hang glider thing?
Yeah. Oh well. Saw the dots in the water and I thought it was a heap of sharks, but in fact it's people on surfboards, and you can see why they're out there. I mean, this is really magnificent. I mean, you've got this sort of island thing out there, and then if you look, missed what?
Hang glider out to your left and that a glider.
No, I didn't. I got it. I have no idea what that plane's up to. But his propeller isn't going around. Well, the hang glider jobby obviously got himself off as well, because that's up there, and we can see him, or her, how can you tell from this angle? And then back to the shot I was on when I started, you've got this incredible panorama, and those hills, mysterious hills in the background. And it's a rotten day. I mean, it really is. I mean, imagine what it'd be like on a good day. Just a bit blowy now, but whatever you do, don't jump. Ugh. Yeah, there's the lighthouse still. Also, more lighthouse. Oh, I've got your head there, but oh, goodbye. Well, Sue's walking now to what is the most easterly point on the Australian mainland. She's leaning on it. With a bit of luck, she'll go behind it. And there you go, most easterly point on the Australian mainland, and there she is. Totally easterly. Good. This is the Australian equivalent of Land's End. That's it, rocks and things jutting out to the peninsula. And over there, Hawaii. Well, Sue's just pointed out there's a boat going out to those rocks, and there's some sort of walk there but unfortunately this is the best magnification I can get, so we can't get any closer. You know, back in Kakadu I was mentioning the crystalline structure of the rocks. There's a perfect example of a perfectly natural sticky out bit of rock. That's the only scientific term I can use for it. And there's other bits of sticky out rock in a similar crystal formation down there. And in fact this is the most easterly point where we're actually hanging right now. There's just water between here and the rest of the world. Pity it's not a better day, but them's the breaks. And the old lighthouse is still behind us somewhere. Yeah, right up the hill. So we better head back to Sydney. All submachine gun will fix this one. You know, we're not heading back to Sydney. This guy's cheating. I can hear an engine up there.
Well, it's not a hang glider, it's
Oh, it's an ultralight. I was going to say he's cheating because I can hear his flaming engine. Well, it's a very popular spot. At least you guaranteed a soft landing. Oh yeah, they must be making a race of it.
Oops.
What do you mean, oops?
His engine always went down.
Oh, it's his problem, not mine. Only if he landed on my head. We're not heading to Sydney, we're still here because I've just been mentioning all the snakes that go stealing birds' eggs. Because it's not just snakes, it's lizards. And he looks like, you know, with his fat tummy, as if he's a frill neck, just lying there fishing.
One of those horny back things, isn't he?
A horny back thingy, yes. Oh, don't say we don't get wildlife in this movie. He's about to nick off, he's going somewhere. Whatever you do, mate, don't jump! So as Susie disappears up the hill, we say goodbye to Byron Bay. It's been a very nice visit, we've enjoyed it. The view is spectacular, the winds are very strong, and what a lovely way to end the holiday. That's it. And Sue is, like it says, at the Big Banana at Coffs Harbour. So does that make her a top banana? That makes you a top banana, does it? Okay, the Big Banana at Coffs Harbour, and we're also going on the train tour. Well, we're about to finish off our stay at the Big Banana by a trip on the Big Banana train. So we'll be all aboard the magic banana train. Not quite the Ghan, but there again I'm sure we'll have a lot of fun here at the Big Banana.
But we all know that bunrooks don't really exist, do they? What's on the board on the head on the right?
This is a banana grove, bananas on the hoof, and that's one of the stops on our train journey. So we're almost the Fakawi tribe again, but this time we know where we are, we're in Coffs Harbour. Well, there you go, that's a flowering bunch of bananas, and just over there I saw one as well. There he is as well. Bananas on the hoof, complete with flowers. Here's the view for the train.
Back with me, I will be departing almost straight away. You can have a browse through the Codan collection, go up and have a look at the lookout. Maybe get something to eat or drink from our cafe there.
Well, this is our parting shot of Coffs Harbour. Unfortunately, time marches on. Like I said, time marches on. We're still a long way from Sydney, so we've got a long way to go.